Votes will make or break this. Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Jeff Flake hang in the balance.
That's Fox's Griff Jenkins. A near disaster in the Pacific. A passenger jet attempting to land in Micronesia came up short of the runway and came down in a lagoon. But all 47 people on board survived. Some passengers walked off the plane into waist-deep water, and rescue boats quickly arrived. Only 7 injuries, 1 critical but stable. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
In Chicago, we have gray skies this morning. Clouds throughout the early a.m. 53 degrees at 5:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago police are investigating at this hour the death of a 10-month-old girl. The infant died Wednesday at the hospital. She lived at 67th and Paxton. DCFS investigators are also probing that girl's death today. Murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke will continue on Monday. The officer is charged in the deadly shooting of Laquan McDonald in 2014. A retired CPD firearms instructor yesterday testified that police officers are taught to shoot until a threat is eliminated.
You shoot until a threat is eliminated, and there's no telling what that could be. There's no telling how many rounds it could take to do that.
Van Dyke's legal team also called multiple witnesses in an effort to show the teen was out of control and on PCP the night he was shot. A Chicago mother is accused of drowning her 3-year-old son just days after posting on Facebook that he died. Celeste Christian is facing attempted murder charges. Authorities say the boy was hospitalized in critical condition after his mother found him limp in a bath this past Sunday. Child's father told police that Christian had recently posted to social media that her son had died and that she wanted to make funeral plans. The EPA will conduct air quality testing in suburban Willowbrook following a backlash over a federal report that shows a local company may be releasing cancer-causing chemicals into the air. Last month, the agency found elevated levels of toxic chemicals in the air believed to have come from the Sterigenics plant. Findings led to lawsuits filed against the company. Sterigenics has been operating in Willowbrook for 30 years. Bail denied for a Deerfield man accused of killing his wife last week. Gary Kaman is charged with the murder of Karen Kaman. Court documents say the husband handcuffed, sexually assaulted, then eventually stabbed his wife 15 times in their home. Kaman told police he blacked out on whiskey and sleeping pills before waking up to find his wife on the floor covered in blood. A drop in Chicago homicides accounts for more than half of a decline in killings nationally. Statistics released this morning by the FBI show there were 199 fewer murders across the country from 2016 to 2017. 56% of that decrease could be attributed to Chicago, which at that time had 112 fewer murders. A Chicago woman accused of gunning down her cousin at a north suburban Skokie hotel is pleading not guilty. Ariana Alcala was charged with involuntary manslaughter in the deadly shooting of Leslie Cornell. Police say the two women were celebrating the victim's birthday party at the time of the incident. A suburban Lamont man remains behind bars on $500,000 bail after he was arrested using Metra to traffic heroin from Chicago to New Lenox. Daniel Seworth was arrested at the New Lenox Metra station. Police say he had 103 grams of heroin and cocaine on his person at the time of the arrest. Shares in ConAgra Brands are down 6% after reporting first quarter earnings that fell short of expectations. Chicago packaged food maker reported a nearly 17% increase in sales and earnings of 45 cents per share, but that did not sit well on Wall Street, where their target was 49 cents a share. Cubs shortstop Addison Russell will not play for the rest of the regular season as MLB investigates domestic abuse allegations made by his ex-wife. This will make Dan Proft happy. Chicago will host the CONCACAF Gold Cup next year. It's an international soccer tournament played at Soldier Field on July 7th. Tourney is obviously held every 2 years to determine the champion of North America and the Caribbean and South America. John Lester tossed 6 innings, shutout innings. Cubs blanked the Pirates 3-0 at Wrigley Field. Lester says he didn't have his best stuff, but found a way to get it done for the team.
You know, sometimes when you're able to weave your way inside out of trouble, you know, like tonight, that these are more rewarding wins than the ones where you have your good stuff and you're just able to go out there and execute.
Gotta like how David Bodie's playing, smacking a 2-run triple in the second. Daniel Murphy an RBI single in the fourth. And the Northsiders now have a 1-game lead over the idle Brewers. White Sox begin their final series of the regular season today against the Twins in Minnesota with a day-night doubleheader to make up a postponed game from April. Mike Condon, 27 saves. Senators over the Blackhawks 2-1 at the UC. The News is a service this hour of the Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports. Coaches, parents, students, and administrators visit pcadevzone.org. 5:07 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Don't miss Freedom Summit 2018 on Saturday, October 27th. Presented by Geiger Wealth Management, Chicago's retirement planning experts. This year, featuring headline speakers, former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark and James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. Also appearing, AM 560's Mike Gallagher, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, and Joe Walsh. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Precision Payroll of America and by Joe Cotton Ford in Carroll Stream.
Welcome to Jimmy John's.
Hi, your new 9-grain wheat sub is so good. How do you make it?
With the highest quality ingredients and love. I mean, we definitely don't sing at lullabies when it's baking. Lullabies are what parents sing to babies.
Right.
And we don't use a baby carrier to carry the warm, fresh 9-grain wheat subs to the cooling racks. I mean, they're not babies. They're for making delicious sandwiches.
Okay, I'll take a turkey tom.
Oh, don't name them. It makes it harder.
Try our new 9-grain wheat sub, Jimmy John's. Wheat yeah, freak yeah.
Noted author, former chief medical correspondent, and Salonpas user Dr. Bob Arnott.
The human body has billions of pain receptors. Block those receptors with the anesthetics found in Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, and you'll have relief. Salonpas Lidocaine Plus contains 2 anesthetics, including the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription. They numb aggravated nerves for effective, lasting relief. For relief, try what I use, Salonpas Lidocaine Plus.
In the silver box with the blue wave.
Wow, we've been doing a lot of roofs.
And we're ready to do yours. This is Mark Olson.
And Greg Olson from Crumweedy. Okay, say it. If your roof is needy,
call Crumweedy.
Remember that when you need repair or when you need a new roof.
It's so important to choose your roofing company wisely.
Here's our pitch.
Installation. It's the ball game.
We follow the manufacturer's specifications, so your warranty is totally intact. Most roofing companies don't do that.
When we give you a quote, we give you good, better, and best options. You decide.
And we're not going anywhere.
We're a third-generation family business. 65 years of doing great roofs.
We run the company on good, conservative values.
For any roofing problem or need, call your roofing guys, Crumweedy.
Do we have any special offers? Sure. Just ask. We'll take care of you.
Get all the info at myroofisneedy.com.
When your roof is needy,
call Crumweedy.
630-595-8020. 630-595-8020.
For just $5 a day, you can sponsor a child through Compassion International. It's pocket change to you. It's life-changing for a child in need. Be part of the change. Become a sponsor now at compassion.com/radio. That's compassion.com/radio.
5:10 on AM 560. Time for a dry basement and a healthy home. Time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast comes from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and meteorologist Kevin Snyder. Well, if Kevin were here, he would tell you that it will be sun and clouds today. Cooler and a passing shower in the afternoon or two, high 63. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly, 41 for an overnight low. Clouds and sun, 58 tomorrow, and a low of 51 tomorrow night. Currently 56 at O'Hare, 59 along Chicago's lakefront. It is 49 this morning in Aurora. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, who do you believe? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Let's take it in the order that the Senate did. First, Christine Ford, and then Brett Kavanaugh. Christine Ford, again, testified first before the committee yesterday. You heard it probably on these airwaves starting just after 9 o'clock. And
what'd you think of her hairdo? Let's start with the, aesthetics. She had a new hairdo, highlights, different look than we're used to seeing in her Facebook picture on top of the mountain with the sunglasses.
If you say so. I'm more interested in what
all the
she
women,
had to
of course,
say
that were in the room all said, "Oh, look at her! It's called the lob. It's the long bob." Yeah, that's what you got. It's really hip and cool right now, with the kids and the moms. Just so you know.
Okay. All right.
They've been trying to talk me into the lob for years. All right.
How about the sing-songy Valley Girl voice? Is that big with the moms too? Here's Christine Ford saying it's her civic duty.
I am terrified. I am here because I believe it is my civic duty to tell you what happened to me while Brett Kavanaugh and I were in high school.
And she started by explaining how they got connected in the first place, her and Kavanaugh.
We did not know each other well, but I knew him and he knew me. In the summer of 1982, like most summers, I spent most every day at the Columbia Country Club in Chevy Chase, Maryland, swimming and practicing diving. One evening that summer, after a day of diving at the club, I attended a small gathering at a house in the Bethesda area. There were 4 boys I remember specifically being at the house: Brett Kavanaugh, Mark Judge, a boy named PJ, and one other boy whose name I cannot recall. I also remember my friend Leland attending. I do not remember all of the details of how that gathering came together, but like many that summer, it was almost surely a spur-of-the-moment gathering.
At one point in time, she reminded me of those 2 dudes in front of the LA City Council, who are like, "Hey, man," it's just because that's their cadence. And
yes.
How they speak over there on the West Coast.
Well,
I'm sorry. Let's go back to the facts.
Well, but it's just about who attended the party. that's changed a few times.
A big deal.
Yeah, the Ford's therapist notes say 4 boys were involved. That's Ford says is a discrepancy. That was an error on the therapist's part. Ford said there were 4 boys at the party, but only 2 in the room. But then her polygraph contradicts that statement. In the polygraph, she said there were 4 boys and a couple of girls at the party. During her testimony yesterday.
Yeah, we learned that there was just one girl, her friend Leland.
To clarify that more than 4 people may have been present at the party in question and that an individual named PJ was not a bystander to her alleged attack, and she does not allege that he knew about it. That was her WhatsApp conversation with Washington Post reporter. So, I mean, just in terms of, and again, I'm going to give her a wide berth. I understand the point that was made, really drilled into people's head, that assault victim has trauma, may not remember everything, may remember bits and pieces. Okay, fine. But I'm saying she's remembering the same thing differently. It's not like in the other things she doesn't remember, like how she got to the party and how she got home, that she's changed her story. She hasn't changed her story. She just doesn't remember that.
And for me, another piece that sticks out, besides, that we've already gone over, that she doesn't remember where she was, whose house it was, the date of the alleged attack. But she didn't tell. She went to that party with a girlfriend, Leland, and she said that she has no idea what happened. Now, if I went to a party and I was 15 years old with one girl, with one friend,
yeah,
hypothetically speaking, and she ran out of the house and left, I would be all over, like, hey, where's Christina? Where's Chrissy? And the next day or that night, I would go to Chrissy's house on my bike or walk there and say, hey, why'd you leave the party? What happened? That conversation never happened.
Or conversely, let me ask you this, because this was brought up by some women as well. I think Molly Hemingway, among others. If you had just been the victim of an assault and you were there with a friend, would you leave your friend behind knowing you have two people there that allegedly were part of assaulting you?
God, no.
And
I mean, that's why it was so weird, because there's this girl code that we have. We would never, ever in a million years leave her there or leave and not find out why your friend ran out of the house. I'd be all over that.
You don't have to tell me about the girl code. I know all about the
You
girl
know all
code.
about the
Yeah,
girl code.
right. Here's Ford now describing the assault, and we're going to give her, the full compliment. If you didn't hear it, it takes a couple of minutes to unwind, but it's important to hear it in complete context to make an assessment. And she gets emotional, understandably.
When I got to the small gathering, people were drinking beer in a small living room, family room type area on the first floor of the house. I drank one beer. Brett and Mark were visibly drunk. Early in the evening, I went up a very narrow set of stairs leading from the living room to a second floor to use the restroom. When I got to the top of the stairs, I was pushed from behind into a bedroom across from the bathroom. I couldn't see who pushed me. Brett and Mark came into the bedroom and locked the door behind them. There was music playing in the bedroom. It was turned up louder by either Brett or Mark once we were in the room. I was pushed onto the bed, and Brett got on top of me. He began running his hands over my body and grinding into me. I yelled, hoping that someone downstairs might hear me, and I tried to get away from him, but his weight was heavy. Brett groped me and tried to take off my clothes. He had a hard time because he was very inebriated and because I was wearing a one-piece bathing suit underneath my clothing. I believed he was going to rape me. I tried to yell for help. When I did, Brett put his hand over my mouth to stop me from yelling. This is what terrified me the most and has had the most lasting impact on my life. It was hard for me to breathe, and I thought that Brett was accidentally going to kill me. Both Brett and Mark were drunkenly laughing during the attack. They seemed to be having a very good time. Mark seemed ambivalent, at times urging Brett on, and at times telling him to stop. A couple of times I made eye contact with Mark and thought he might try to help me, but he did not. During this assault, Mark came over and jumped on the bed twice while Brett was on top of me. And the last time that he did this, we toppled over and Brett was no longer on top of me. I was able to get up and run out of the room. Directly across from the bedroom was a small bathroom. I ran inside the bathroom and locked the door. I waited until I heard Brett and Mark leave the bedroom, laughing, and loudly walk down the narrow stairway, pinballing off the walls on the way down. I waited, and when I did not hear them come back up the stairs, I left the bathroom, went down the same stairwell, through the living room, and left the house.
So Nicole Wallace in the Washington Examiner makes an interesting point about this. It's okay, you don't remember every detail. She remembers, the details she does remember all tend to implicate Kavanaugh and
Mark Judge.
Mm-hmm. The details she doesn't remember could potentially help us zero in on the particulars of when this and where this incident allegedly occurred, and either corroborate or undermine her story. So, again, I'm not saying that you can't, you remember every detail, assault victims, the research on trauma, I understand. But it is worth noting that everything she does remember with specificity implicates them, and all the things that she doesn't remember could corroborate or undermine her story.
Right. And one part that stuck out, she talked about what everyone asked her, what stays with you?
The laughter, the uproarious laughter between the two, and they're having fun at my expense.
You've never forgotten that laughter. You've never forgotten them laughing at you.
They were laughing with each other.
And you were the object of the laughter?
I was, underneath one of them while the two laughed. Two friends having a really good time with one another.
And after seeing that, I cried during her testimony, and I bawled during Kavanaugh's testimony.
So let me ask you this question, put this out. Do you take the position that Kavanaugh and other Republicans have taken too? I believe something happened to Miss Ford, but, it wasn't Brett Kavanaugh, essentially. Obviously, that's Kavanaugh's position. That seems to be the position of most, if not all, of the Republican senators. I do believe something happened to her, though. Do you stipulate to that as Kavanaugh suggested as possible? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Chris in Woodstock, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. I've watched the whole thing pretty much, and I thought that her attempted to cry was completely fake. It was forced. Watch her again. She's wearing glasses. You can't really make out any tears in her eyes. I think this whole thing was staged from the get-go. This is absolutely 100% political.
Can we have a little compassion here?
Thanks
please.
for the call, Chris.
That was not staged. That was not a Democratic plan. I went in with an open mind, but I was kind of biased toward her. And then when I listened to her, I thought, oh, gosh, Kavanaugh's done. It's over. But then Kavanaugh came. But we'll get into that later. But I thought she was believable.
And just in terms of being a political operative, she addressed that straight away.
Apart from the assault itself, these past couple of weeks have been the hardest of my life. I've had to relive this trauma in front of the world. And I've seen my life picked apart by people on television, on Twitter, other social media, other media, and in this body who have never met me or spoken with me. I have been accused of acting out of partisan political motives. Those who say that do not know me. I am an independent person, and I am no one's pawn.
Tony in Downers Grove.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was waiting for her to say, and one day while I was at band camp, I believe something happened to her, but I think she's psychologically ill, seriously ill. And she had a long time to put the story together. Well, she read the script very well. And I hope you get to Dick Durbin because he is such a piece of garbage.
Yes.
Well, he just asked her, with what degree of certainty are you sure that it was Brett Kavanaugh who assaulted you? And she said 100% certainty.
Dick Durbin also said something important. He said, a polished liar can tell a seamless story and take it from someone who knows.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Noted author, former chief medical correspondent, and Salon Pas user Dr. Bob Arnott.
The human body has billions of pain receptors. Block those receptors with the anesthetics found in Salon Pas Lidocaine Plus, and you'll have relief. Salon Pas Lidocaine Plus contains 2 anesthetics, including the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription. They numb aggravated nerves for effective, lasting relief. For relief, try what I use, Salon Pas Lidocaine Plus.
In the silver box with the blue wave.
Hey, fall has arrived. It is officially fall, don't you know? And sleeping with the windows open is nice. Some get a great night's sleep, but if you want the best night's sleep ever, you should treat yourself to a MyPillow. And right now, the buy one, get one free offer is back. So if you haven't bought your MyPillow, here's yet another chance to get one for yourself, maybe give one to a loved one or give one as a gift. You can move the fill to get the support you need. I never wake up with a stiff neck or headache, and MyPillow is made in America. Washable, dryable, 10-year warranty. Who does that? That means they really stand behind their product. And there's also a 60-day money-back guarantee. Go online or call now for this great buy one, get one free deal. You could also get 30% off everything, including the MyPillow mattress toppers we've been telling you about, those pet beds that my dog Bunky recommends, luxury Jesus cotton sheets. I don't know why. Giza. Luxury Giza cotton sheets and much more. Find it all at mypillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Be sure to tell them that Amy sent you so that you can get 30% off everything.
Highland Park Ford Lincoln's in the house. Here's Alan Marty.
For 30 years, we've been making people happy with incredible deals and service.
We're the best Ford Lincoln dealers in town.
Because making people happy makes us happy.
No doubt. This is one happy place.
Heck, we just break into dance all the time.
We don't break into dance at the dealership.
Sure we do.
No, we really don't.
We could. Come on, Marty, dance with me.
The Highland Park Ford Lincoln Superstore. Call 1-800-984-9000 or go to alanmarty.com.
Admit it.
Okay, you're a lovely dancer.
Thank you. This is Alan Marty. Deal with us.
The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs continue on NBC.
One race that everybody's really worried about is the Roval. NASCAR fans love chaos, so there'll be a lot of that.
The Roval at Charlotte.
It could be like another Talladega or a Martinsville or something crazier than that.
There's the oval section, there's the road course section. If somebody has one mistake through there, it's going to be a complete disaster.
Sunday, 2 Eastern on NBC.
My name is Dr. Jonathan Greenberg. Stop what you are doing because what I'm about to say will improve the quality of your life. ZYPPAH.com. That's Z-PA. It's Happy Z spelled backwards. Z-PA is designed to be comfortable, affordable, and effective at eliminating snoring. I want to help you stop snoring. Go to ZPA.com and order now. ZYPPAH.com. Snoring is a serious matter. Z-PA will conquer your snoring problems. Go to ZPA.com and order now.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy talking about Christine Ford's credibility. Quickly, Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I watched the whole thing, and I agree with Amy. It was a terrible story that this lady recited. But you know what? I couldn't help but think that she was so prepped, and so her handlers were absolutely outstanding prepping her for this. And I think the Republican questioner, that lady, did a terrible job. She never established, how does she know Kavanaugh? When did they meet? Why is she 100% sure? He's saying he don't know her at all. And that, just where did you meet him? How long have you talked to him? Did you ever go out with them? Things like that. That's still a question that I don't know. Maybe you guys got the answer. I'll hang up and listen. But thanks, Amy, for blowing this in the beginning with a hairdo story. Get a break. Bye.
Well, now you know what a lob is, okay?
Yeah, Ed, you're a better person for it.
The bi-level lob.
With respect to Rachel Mitchell, Ed, you raise an excellent point. And the questions you asked are a good example of that excellent point you raised. And we're going to pick up Rachel Mitchell's performance and the Republicans' decision to outsource the questioning of Ford to Rachel Mitchell. Did that turn out to be a good idea? We'll tackle that at 5:38.
And later, Southern Strong, Lindsey Graham, like you've never seen him before. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Fair skies, 52, but we'll have clouds throughout the day. The clock is ticking toward a vote this morning. The Senate Judiciary Committee expected to vote later this morning on the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh to the U.S. Supreme Court. That move follows Thursday's closely watched Senate hearing in which Christine Blasey Ford testified that it was Kavanaugh in her mind that sexually assaulted her when they were teens.
Dr. Ford, with what degree of certainty do you believe Brett Kavanaugh assaulted you?
100%.
Ford described Kavanaugh and buddy Mark Judge as extremely inebriated and said they were laughing and having fun at her expense. But an angry and emotional Brett Kavanaugh says he has never committed sexual assault.
Vile threats of violence against my family will not drive me out. You may defeat me in the final vote, but you'll never get me to quit. Never.
Ford described Kavanaugh and buddy Brett Kavanaugh as being at that party. Kavanaugh says he doesn't remember being there. In a Senate hearing yesterday, South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham called it the most despicable thing he's ever seen in politics.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You said that, not me.
Meantime, the American Bar Association is calling for the FBI to investigate the allegations against Kavanaugh and the personal information this morning of 3 Republican senators involved in yesterday's Brett Kavanaugh hearing have been leaked online. Phone numbers and addresses of Lindsey Graham, Orrin Hatch, and Mike Lee were posted on their Wikipedia pages. It's called doxing. Those numbers and information was later taken down, but screenshots of the information are still circulating on Twitter this morning. Everyone is safe after a plane lands short of the runway in a lagoon in Micronesia. The Pacific Daily News reporting the airport's manager said the plane ended up about 160 yards from the runway. The Federated States of Micronesia, of course, is a chain of thousands of small islands in the Pacific Ocean that includes the U.S. territory of Guam. The Security and Exchange Commission charging Tesla CEO Elon Musk with fraud.
Today, the SEC filed securities fraud charges against Elon Musk, the chairman and CEO of Tesla Motors, stemming from his August 7th, 2018 statements disseminated over Twitter that he was considering taking Tesla private.
The share price of Tesla was hammered after that news. The complaint filed yesterday accuses Musk of making false and misleading statements. The police chief of Gastonia, North Carolina, said his community is heartbroken this morning after a long search for a missing special needs boy ends with his body being found.
Our community's heartbroken. Our searchers, our investigators. This is not the end that we had hoped for.
6-year-old Maddox Rich went missing last week after he ran ahead of his father. Chicago police are investigating the death of a 10-month-old girl that happened this week near 67th and Paxton. The murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke will continue on Monday, the officer charged in the deadly shooting of Laquan McDonald in 2014. And the EPA says they will conduct more air quality testing in suburban Willowbrook following a backlash over a federal report that shows that local company Sterigenics may have released some cancer-causing chemicals into the air. Chicago sports, Cubs blanked the Pirates 3-0. White Sox begin their final series of the regular season today against the Twins in Minnesota. On the NHL preseason ice, Senators over the Blackhawks. The news, a service of Compassion International. Sponsoring a child with compassion is the most effective way to end extreme child poverty. Release a child from poverty when you become a Compassion sponsor. Choose your child now at compassion.com/radio and do your part to release a child from poverty today. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Don't miss Freedom Summit 2018 on Saturday, October 27th. Presented by Geiger Wealth Management, Chicago's retirement planning experts. This year, featuring headline speakers, former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark and James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. Also appearing, AM 560's Mike Gallagher, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, and Joe Walsh. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Automated Systems Incorporated and by Health Insurance Mentors.com.
Looking to refinance your home? Then you need to call Team Hochberg. Sally's heard hundreds of Team Hochberg's ads, so naturally she called the nation's largest online lender obsessed with their Rocket because she saw their ad pumping gas. Bad move. The Rocket-loving lender quoted Sally a rate higher than us and closing costs $6,000 more than Team Hochberg's. We explained the exorbitant closing costs and refinanced Sally into a lower rate and credited all of her closing costs. Team Hochberg doesn't have a Rocket, but we have lower rates and substantially lower closing costs than the nation's largest online Rocket-loving lender. You could call the nation's largest online lender who spends millions promoting their Rocket by charging excessive closing costs, or you could call Team Hochberg at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee 4358 and MLS 19186.
Let's think about customization presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty Mutual customizes your auto insurance so you only pay for what you need. So why aren't more things in life customizable? Why should I pay the same amount for a compact parking space as I do for a regular space, right? What kind of lot doesn't reward me for selflessly buying a smaller car to provide more parking room for others?
Go to libertymutual.com for a customized quote and you could save.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, equal housing insurer.
Renowned medical correspondent and endurance race champion Bob Arnott, MD.
People ask me, how do you keep competing at the age of 70? Healthy living is important, but so is pain relief. If you have pain, you can't train. So I'm thrilled I discovered Salonpas Lidocaine Plus. This unique topical pain reliever contains 2 safe and effective anesthetics. Nothing has worked better for me.
Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, cream or roll-on.
Check out the newest podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's Meghan Crane. A weekly conversation about top political issues ahead of the upcoming midterm elections. Available on Apple Podcasts.
5:38 and a check of your morning roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
In downtown Downers Grove, rail crossings at Fairview, Maple, Washington, Main, and Forest are blocked by a train after an incident involving a train and a pedestrian involving a freight train near Maine and Burlington. Kennedy Expressway inbound, traffic stop and go 190 to Cumberland. 22 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 20. The 8 at Spod. Got eyes and our delays are Ashland to the Burn Circle after overnight work. 34 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 29. Stevenson is clear. Ride just a little heavy inbound approaching downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 18 minutes, 580 to the merge due to construction. Southbound Tri-State, it's heavy from 280 to the Adams Tollway. Construction in that area. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Sun and clouds, cooler. A passing afternoon shower is expected and a high of 63. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly. Might want to crank up the furnace. Low 41, currently 53. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs powered by Tandem HR. Heard Sunday evenings at 6.
Don't miss David Clark and James O'Keefe at Freedom Summit 2018. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We were talking about Christine Ford's testimony yesterday. Let's just kind of take it in sequence here. Christine Ford, then we'll get to Kavanaugh and all of the fireworks during his opening statement, as well as during his exchanges with members of the Democrat caucus and the Senate Judiciary Committee.
And we can't forget Lindsey Graham.
Right,
Yeah,
well,
we're
that's
gonna
an
get to him,
example.
yeah.
So back to Ford, though, because I want to tackle the issue of Rachel Mitchell. It was a big decision for the Republicans to decide to outsource all of their questioning of Ms. Ford to this sex crimes prosecutor from Maricopa County, Arizona, Rachel Mitchell. And the question is, did that end up being a good decision for Republicans? How did you think Rachel Mitchell did? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA turnkey.pro text line.
Well, her hands were kind of tied in a way because she had 5 minutes, and then they went to a Democratic senator on the Judiciary Committee. Then they went back to her. So I felt like there was no flow. Like she never really had control of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like she would start with a line of questioning, and then they'd have to stop, and they'd have to cede their time to a Democratic senator, then come back, and it was just very discombobulated.
Well,
I don't know if she was effective.
Well, that's the point. I don't think she was particularly effective. And yes, I mean, you have to take these 5-minute breaks in your questioning to listen to Democrat senators.
Like Cory Booker.
To listen to
Cory needs help. Oof.
To listen to them sanctify Christine Ford as one of America's greatest women
that this planet has ever seen.
Well, right.
Her courage and bravery. It's not as if we've never had another sexual assault victim come forward.
Courage, hero was used by Cory Booker. So it wasn't so much questioning as it was supplicating themselves before Christine Ford and elevating her to Rushmore just about before it was all said and done. I mean, frankly, at some point, I was waiting for one of the Senate Democrats, perhaps the one that wandered away from Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, Blumenthal, to suggest that she replace Harriet Tubman, replacing Andrew Jackson on the $20 bill. I was waiting for. I mean, that's where it was going.
It was courageous for her to come forward, but this every time they had the floor, revisiting that was too much for me.
So Mitchell though.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Melissa McCarthy.
She's interrupted by, these hagiographic speeches by Democrat senators, but that doesn't excuse the fact that she sort of didn't have a point in terms of connecting one set of questions to the next set of questions, to the next set of questions, to establish a theory about Christine Ford and about what she alleges happened.
Right.
It all seemed to sort of be going nowhere. And so I thought perhaps it was effective in preventing any Republicans on that committee from coming across as bullying her and all the things that the D.C. press corps would say. So it just eliminated the possibility of those stories. But I also don't think that Rachel Mitchell proved up to be a particularly good inquisitor.
Well, do you think she did her homework? Because I was wondering.
She did her homework. She was asking sort of idiosyncratic questions that weren't connected to one another. I mean, she led Ford down a path on some issues where she sort of established at least curiosities about things Ford was saying, like, for example, her alleged fear of flying.
Yeah, that stuck out to me because, remember, she didn't want to go to D.C. because she wanted to take a car because she's afraid to fly. Oh, really? You were just in D.C. last month.
May I ask, Dr. Ford, how did you get to Washington?
In an airplane.
Okay. I asked that because it's been reported by the press that you would not submit to an interview with the committee because of your fear of flying. Is that true?
Well, I was hoping that they would come to me, but then realized that was an unrealistic request.
It would have been a quicker trip for me.
Yes. So that was certainly what I was hoping, was to avoid having to get on an airplane, but I eventually was able to get up the gumption with the help of some friends and get on the plane.
Get up the gumption to fly. She then went on to talk about how she flies everywhere. Around the world for vacations, to Tahiti, to the Hawaiian Islands, for work. I mean, it
was so weird. But then she said, well, it's different when I'm flying for work than when I'm flying for vacation.
She flies home to Delaware to visit her family every year. And
she was just in D.C. last month. It was so weird. It was just that's why I was saying that was a stall tactic. That was, to me, the I gotcha moment.
Well, the other part of that, and Grassley intervened after that exchange, is to say, we offered to come out to California.
Yes.
And so the fact that she's either pretending her attorneys didn't apprise her of that option, they didn't apprise her of that option, or she's sort of soft-pedaling it, because, part of this heroinism that she got up the gumption to fly from California to D.C. for this. It was offered in. I mean,
She looked flaky.
we know this has been established. It was offered in public. It was offered in private. It was offered in California. It was offered in D.C. That was not disputed by Democrats. But otherwise, Rachel Mitchell just established things. She established some important things. That was one. She established that Miss Ford wanted her letter kept confidential, so somebody leaked it and it wasn't her.
Right.
She established that Dianne Feinstein's office recommended one of her attorney's cats to her. And so she established that Dianne Feinstein and her office was consulting with Ford throughout this process, even as the Senate Republicans, along with Democrats, were meeting and discussing this and interviewing witnesses, and they could have asked Kavanaugh about this as well through the entirety of about 30 days or a little bit more, and they never did. And so that became one of the sticking points for Republicans when they had the chance to ask questions of Kavanaugh and also excoriate their Democrat colleagues. And it was interesting, too, that I think in part because of Rachel Mitchell's performance, there was no more Rachel Mitchell when it came to Kavanaugh's time.
Right.
So I just and here's look, don't take my opinion on it. Well, yes, take my opinion on it.
Yes.
But also Alan Dershowitz.
Ooh, what did he say?
Alan Dershowitz on Rachel Mitchell.
She was totally and completely incompetent in terms of asking cross-examination questions because she has little experience. For example, the main issue now is whether or not she recognized Kavanaugh correctly. She was never asked how well she knew him, how many times she encountered him before this, how close was their relationship. There was nothing that could raise questions about whether, even if she believes she's telling the truth, she may have misidentified. So she just did a terrible job. And I think the Republicans realized that, and they canned her right in the middle. But it was a very bad choice.
Well, and you could go the way she was going by establishing some things that, raised doubts about Ford's credibility, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe that she's being used as a political cudgel, even unbeknownst to her, perhaps, by Democrats. Okay, but you could also ask those questions that Ed and Oakbrook and Alan Dershowitz, never hear those two names in a sentence again, have both suggested, which is, what about the story itself? What about probing the story itself? And Mitchell didn't do that.
No, she fell flat on that.
Tony on the south side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. I consider myself a forensic listener, even though my wife will tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
However, I picked up on something she said when the good Senator Leahy was asking her about what she remembers the most. And she quotes, and this is off her testimony. He says, "And were you the object of their laughter?" She says, "I was, underneath one of them."
Right.
So right there, it's like, again, I'm not saying this lady wasn't insulted. I'm going in the camp of that she had a traumatic experience. I get all that. However, how can she? Maybe she doesn't know. I don't think she's sure it was Kavanaugh, like you said.
Right. But sometimes if you lie to yourself, enough, you believe your own lie. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's so true.
Or you have Democratic senators lying to you like they always do and putting this in your head. I mean, up until what? A few months ago? Not even a month ago. She didn't even use Kavanaugh's name until she was bred by those evil Democrats, and they drilled this in her head, and it was like the playbook. So I feel bad for the woman, but you know what? Brent didn't do this. That's all I'm going to say.
All right,
thanks guys.
Thanks for the call, Tony. And by the way, the issue or the question of when did she name Brett Kavanaugh, was it not till July? That's also somewhat in dispute because her husband tells a different story. Her husband says his name was mentioned in therapy sessions.
Yeah, in 2012 when she wanted that second door on her house. And by the way, what I learned yesterday, why she wanted that second door, she suffers from panic attacks and she's claustrophobic.
Yeah.
So she didn't say she wanted the second door because of this attack. She said that that's why she wanted a second door and that she had mentioned his name then.
Mike in Union, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. I think it was a smart move by the Republicans. This was all about optics. With everybody watching, I mean, if they went against her aggressively, it would look, oh, they assaulted her again, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I think it was a smart move by them to do this. Like I said, everybody's watching. So why would you beat up a woman who probably was maybe offended in the past, but smart move by them, I believe.
All right,
Maybe
thanks for the call, Mike.
Part of their game plan to not bring up and ask information like where you met him? Did he ever ask you out on a date? Maybe that was.
I don't. If it was, then that doesn't make any sense to me. But it's not beating up on a woman to ask legitimate questions, legitimate fact-based questions, trying to ascertain what she remembers and compare that to what she's previously said she remembers. There's nothing beating up about that. I agree with what Mike said about optics, so I understand why they did it. But that doesn't mean you couldn't get a better cross-examiner, a female attorney who's a better cross-examiner. I think Dershowitz makes a good point. She's a prosecutor. How many times is she cross-examining someone accused of a sexual crime? How many times do alleged rapists or child molesters take the stand in their own defense? How many times do you even get that far in a criminal trial? I don't know what her record is, but I think Dershowitz may be onto something there. A more seasoned criminal defense attorney used to cross-examining to try and impeach witnesses, female, and I'm sure there are many accomplished female criminal defense attorneys and criminal attorneys out there with a lot of trial experience. Maybe it was a good idea, poorly executed, is all I'm saying with Rachel Mitchell, because I just didn't find her questioning going anywhere important, even though we got some value from it. Al in Cherville.
Hello, Dan and Amy. Thank you. Both testimonies were compelling, but here's my question. When you played the testimony of the lady, she indicates that when Kavanaugh came in the bedroom, he locked the door.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if there was lights on in that bedroom or not, but then afterwards she said when they were on the floor, she got up and she ran out of the room. If she suffers from panic attacks, been in a place she's never been before, how in the heck would you figure out how to quickly unlock a door you've never seen before and get away? Just seems odd to me, that's all.
All right, thanks for the call out. I mean, that could have been a follow-up question. Now, you said the door was locked. You were able to unlock it, and, just, again, to try and gather specifics that she does remember versus what she doesn't.
Whose house was she in, and why didn't she leave with her girlfriend?
Well, those were questions.
Or take her girlfriend out of there, or tell her girlfriend what had happened.
Well, those would be fair questions as well. They weren't asked.
It's just not, it goes against the grain.
Bill on the Northwest Side.
Hi, Dan and Amy. Good morning. If you brainstormed a list of traumatic events that a 15-year-old teenager might be involved in, you could say sexual assault. You could say got robbed at gunpoint. You could say fell down a flight of stairs. You could say got sucker punched at a bar. You could say was with someone who overdosed and died on drugs.
Okay.
In my opinion, there is no chance you would not remember where you were. Anybody, not just her. There's no chance. Also, for what it's worth, who wears a wet swimsuit under their clothing? Because she said she was diving earlier that day.
Right.
No, I did that all the time. That is
okay.
not,
Okay, I'll take that one back then. I'll take that one back.
I was a pool rat too. You do it all.
Thanks for the call, Bill. I'm wearing one now.
I thought I smelled chlorine.
Yeah. Chris in Aurora.
All right, I think we need to look at the bigger picture here. Yesterday, we witnessed nothing less than the worst day of our government ever. And when Lindsey Graham said what he said, I believe those words we're going to look back on and realize if this goes not the way that we want it to go, then that moment and those words that he said might as well be the beginning of the Second Civil War. Because definitively yesterday, the left crossed a red line. The contrast could not have been any more clear between the questioning that they asked her and the questions they asked him. They badgered him over and over, almost trying to make him out to be some belligerent drunk. And then when it came to her, they softballed her over and over, and we got to listen to her in her 12-year-old voice. And when you pull the camera back and you look at what was at stake here, we're going to see this was all about power. It is a sham. It is a con job, and the American people need to see this for what it is, plain and simple.
All right, thanks for the call, Chris. At 6:06, we'll take up Brett Kavanaugh's opening statement and his exchanges with senators and take your calls, 312-642-5600, Turnkey.Pro answer line. Do you believe what the left wants you to believe, that Brett Kavanaugh is Patrick Bateman?
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
All right, if your roof's needy, you can
Call Crumweedy.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. If your roof is leaky, if the shingles are curling, or if your roof isn't right after storms, then you need to call Crumweedy with roofing companies. And the difference is, of course, installation. Now, Crumweedy, they know that, and that's why they follow the manufacturer's specifications, so your warranty is totally intact. And many companies don't do that, and that could void your warranty. If you hate high-pressure sales tactics, not from Crumweedy. They give you good, better, best options. You make the choice, no pressure. Crumweedy is a roof that lasts at a fair price. Now, Mark Olson and Greg Olson of Crumweedy, they lead this third-generation family business that's been doing Chicagoland roofs since 1953. Now, they fix roof problems, so if your roof is needy,
Call Crumweedy.
That's 630-595-8020. That's 630-595-8020. They're online, of course, at myroofisneedy.com.
Welcome to Jimmy John's.
Hi, your new 9-grain wheat sub is so good. How do you make it?
With the highest quality ingredients and love. I mean, we definitely don't sing at lullabies when it's baking. Lullabies are what parents sing to babies.
Right.
And we don't use a baby carrier to carry the warm, fresh 9-grain wheat subs to the cooling racks. I mean, they're not babies. They're for making delicious sandwiches.
Okay, I'll take a turkey tom.
Oh, don't name them. It makes it harder.
Try our new 9-grain wheat sub, Jimmy John's. Wheat yeah, freak yeah.
Noted author, former chief medical correspondent, and Salonpas user Dr. Bob Arnott.
The human body has billions of pain receptors. Block those receptors with the anesthetics found in Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, and you'll have relief. Salonpas Lidocaine Plus contains 2 anesthetics, including the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription. They numb aggravated nerves for effective, lasting relief. For relief, try what I use, Salonpas Lidocaine Plus.
In the silver box with the blue wave.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
Are you happy with what's looking back at you in the mirror? I'm Dr. Howard Cooper from Excellence in Dentistry, and we'd like to help you with that smile. Whether you're looking to fix 1 or 2 teeth or a whole smile makeover, we can take care of all your dental needs. We have a beautiful modern facility and a great staff. And most importantly, we love what we do. That's what sets us apart from other offices. Let's face it, a dental office is not everyone's favorite place. Whether you're 2 or 102, we make it fun and enjoyable. We perform all types of dentistry as well. Fillings, root canals, crowns, extractions, dentures, implants. We do most everything right in our office. And for you denture wearers, we have a full in-house denture lab and can perform repairs and relines while you wait. We can also talk about adding implants so your denture will snap into place or become screw retained. This is the closest option to natural teeth. We are conveniently located in Gurnee at the corner of Washington and 21 in Saratoga Square. So make today the day you give us a call. 847-244-4000. That's 847-244-4000. Or visit us on the web at GurneeDDS.com. We look forward to seeing you, and remember, second opinions are always free. Excellence in dentistry, creating excellence one smile at a time.
Highland Park Ford Lincoln's in the house. Here's Alan Marty.
We're back on the radio and getting bigger than ever.
We're the #1 Lincoln dealer in town.
And Chicagoland's first ever Ford Lincoln Superstore, too.
Folks like our great deals, for sure.
Just yesterday, I got attacked by the paparazzi.
Really?
But I think the groupies are the worst.
Groupies?
All the Highland Park groupies we have.
Sure. Right, Al.
The Highland Park Ford Lincoln Superstore. Call 1-800-984-9000 or go to alanmarty.com.
Well, I have groupies.
A rich fantasy life is important.
This is Al and Marty. Deal with us.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
The day after the hearing, the vote. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
These past couple of weeks have been the hardest of my life.
This whole 2-week effort has been a calculated and orchestrated political hit.
Christine Blasey Ford and Brett Kavanaugh both passionately testified, she detailing what she says was him trying to rape her at a party 36 years ago.
I tried to yell for help. When I did, Brett put his hand over my mouth to stop me from yelling.
Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy asked,
"You would not mix up somebody else with Brett Kavanaugh, is that correct?"
Correct.
But the Supreme Court nominee was equally certain.
I've never sexually assaulted anyone. Not in high school, not in college, not ever.
Well, later this morning, the Judiciary Committee plans to vote, and Fox's Rachel Sutherland's live in Washington.
Dave, Republican Lindsey Graham gave colleagues a tongue lashing and warned that if Republicans vote no,
you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics.
The American Bar Association is calling for a vote to be delayed until an FBI investigation is carried out into Dr. Ford's allegation. Kavanaugh punted when several Democrats, like Kamala Harris, asked,
"Are you willing to ask the White House to conduct an investigation by the FBI?"
That committee vote set for this morning, and it's possible there could be a vote by the full Senate as soon as Tuesday. Dave.
Rachel, a passenger plane trying to land missed the runway in Micronesia and went down into a lagoon, but everyone on board lived as some passengers walked off the jet. Boats quickly rescued them. Only one person has a critical injury. The days-long search for a missing 6-year-old autistic boy in North Carolina who ran off at a park Saturday ended with a body found in a creek.
Our community's heartbroken. Our searchers, our investigators.
Gastonia Police Chief Robert Helton, they're looking to see if this was a crime or an accident. Maddox Rich's father wrote online, he'll live the rest of his life with the guilt he couldn't save his son. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Skies are cloudy, and we could see some rain showers later in the afternoon. 55 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago police are investigating the death of a 10-month-old girl. The infant died Wednesday at the hospital. She lived near 67th and Paxton. The murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke will continue on Monday. The officer is charged with the deadly shooting of Laquan McDonald in 2014. During yesterday's testimony, a retired Chicago police firearms instructor testified that police are taught to shoot until a threat is eliminated.
You shoot until a threat is eliminated, and there's no telling what that could be. There's no telling how many rounds it could take to do that.
Van Dyke's legal team also called multiple witnesses in an effort to show the teen was out of control and on PCP the night he was shot. A Chicago mother is accused of trying to drown her 3-year-old son days after posting on Facebook that he had died. Celeste Christian is facing attempted murder charges. The boy was hospitalized in critical condition after his mother found him limp in a bath this past Sunday. Child's father saying that Christian had recently posted to social media that her son had died and that she wanted to make funeral plans. Bail denied a Deerfield man accused of killing his wife last week. Gary Kaman is charged with murdering Karen Kaman. A suburban Lamont man remains behind bars on $500,000 bail after being accused of using Metra to traffic heroin from Chicago to New Lenox. Daniel Seworth was arrested yesterday at the New Lenox Metro station with heroin and cocaine on his person. Chicago sports, Cubs blanked the Pirates 3-0 at Wrigley Field. Their lead now a game in the NL Central over the idle Brewers. White Sox wrap up the baseball regular season tonight with a doubleheader start to a series in Minnesota. The news service of Compassion International. Sponsoring a child with compassion is the most effective way to end extreme child poverty. Release a child from poverty when you become a Compassion sponsor. Choose your child now at compassion.com/radio and do your part to release a child from poverty today. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
If you own or run a business, here's some valuable information. Right now, it's a buyer's market for business and commercial insurance. This is Jim Solkowski of DSP Insurance Services in Schaumburg. It's a really good time to take a look at all your business insurance products. We handle it all with specialists in every field. With our new clients, we review all your products every 90 days. Why? Insurance products change constantly. Do you have the most competitive program? Has your business changed and you need to adjust your policies? Have rules and regulations changed? We even use a legal team to help with compliance. DSP is all about being your insurance partner, the one looking out for you and your business. DSP partners with Westfield Insurance and several other insurance carriers to protect your interests. Here's a common theme we hear from our customers.
For business insurance, DSP for me.
Business insurance? DSP for me.
Get the contact information at dspforme.com. Let's review your business insurance to make sure you're protected. dspforme.com.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Ryan Siebert, CEO of SG Homebuilders and a customer of Signature Bank. Over the last 10 years, my business pivoted multiple times to adjust to the fluctuations in the Chicago real estate market. Signature Bank's partnership with us and their ability to adapt to changes has allowed us to become a leading custom home builder. Signature Bank is a relationship-based business bank right here in Chicago, providing services and advice that address our unique situation, and they serve as a trusted consultant on what works best for my business. Signature Bank helped us build SG Homebuilders while we were busy building dream homes for our clients.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
What is future you doing right now? You could be working for UPS as a part-time package handler, now hiring in Hodgkins. Plus, receive tuition assistance from the UPS Earn and Learn program. Apply now at upsjobs.com.
6:07. Let's get a check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Rail crossings in Downers Grove are closed at Fairview, Maple, Washington, Main Street, and Forest after an incident involving a freight train and a pedestrian. Kennedy Expressway inbound. Delays from 190 to Cumberland. 25 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 20. Edens looks good. Eisenhower inbound delays start at Manhunt. 35 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 30. On Stevenson, delays start at Harlem. 42 minutes, 355 to the drive. Ryan is 27 minutes, 95 to downtown. Outbound 16. I-57, 18 minutes, I-80 to merge. Bishop Ford 25 with roadwork at Stony Island. Southbound Tri-State jammed solid 2 to 190. 3 left lanes are still blocked. Overnight work. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte. From the Alarm Detection Systems on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Some sun to start today, then clouds will increase, bringing around a passing shower or two for the afternoon. Temperatures falling into the lower 50s by evening from a high today of 63. Chilly night, mainly clear, low 41. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
54 degrees at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Should Brett Kavanaugh, rather than just accede to Senate Democrats' demand that he join the call for an FBI investigation, should he do the honorable thing and demand that President Trump replace him as the Supreme Court nominee with Christine Blasey Ford? You don't have to be a lawyer to be on the Supreme Court.
I understand that, but yeah, no, that's crazy talk.
Well, isn't that where we're at? We talked in the 5 o'clock hour about Ms. Ford's testimony.
Now we're ceding our time to Brett Kavanaugh.
All right, as well as Rachel Mitchell's cross-examination skills. Kavanaugh's statement. Here's something I want. We were talking about it off air, but I want to bring this in because I saw a lot of social media traffic on this, too.
Well, of course.
Christine Blasey Ford, her testimony, it's over for Brett Kavanaugh. Don't even show up. Let's talk about who Trump is going to replace him with. It's over. Is that what you thought? And if you did think that after listening to her, what did you think after listening to his 45-minute opening statement, Brett Kavanaugh, on what this process has done? One of the several moments during his opening statement where he got really emotional.
One of those women friends from college, my family and my name have been totally and permanently destroyed by vicious and false additional accusations. The 10-day delay has been harmful to me and my family, to the Supreme Court, and to the country. When this allegation first arose, I welcomed any kind of investigation, Senate, FBI, or otherwise. The committee now has conducted a thorough investigation, and I've cooperated fully. I know that any kind of investigation, Senate, FBI, Montgomery County Police, whatever, will clear me. Listen to the people I know. Listen to the people who have known me my whole life. Listen to the people I've grown up with and worked with and played with and coached with and dated and taught and gone to games with and had beers with. And listen to the witnesses who allegedly were at this event 36 years ago. Listen to Miss Kaiser. She does not know me. I was not at the party described by Dr. Ford. When I accepted the president's nomination, Ashley and I knew this process would be challenging. We never expected that it would devolve into this. Explaining this to our daughters has been about the worst experience of our lives. Ashley has been a rock. I thank God every day for Ashley. I love teaching law, but thanks to what some of you on this side of the committee have unleashed, I may never be able to teach again. For the past 7 years, I've coached my 2 daughters' basketball teams. You saw many of those girls when they came to my hearing for a couple of hours. You have a letter from the parents of the girls I coached that describe my dedication, commitment, and character. I coach because I know that a girl's confidence on the basketball court translates into confidence in other aspects of life. I love coaching more than anything I've ever done in my whole life. But thanks to what some of you on this side of the committee have unleashed, I may never be able to coach again. This confirmation process has become a national disgrace. The Constitution gives the Senate an important role in the confirmation process, but you have replaced advice and consent with search and destroy.
Yeah.
What did you think about his choice? And I don't think it was, I think it just flowed from him, and flowed from when he prepared that statement, as he said, by himself on Wednesday evening. What did you think about his disgust, his choice? Sort of, they pushed him past his breaking point, and he was going to heap scorn on them and the process. And it was no more Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah,
no
that
more
we saw
Opie
on
Taylor.
Fox. Yeah, on Fox he was reserved. He came out Clarence Thomas on steroids. He was angry, he was emotional, and he was rightly critical of the Democrats. And one thing that he said stands out in my mind about how crazy and insane and how we are living in the twilight zone his world has become.
Crazy stuff. Gangs, illegitimate children, fights on boats in Rhode Island. All nonsense, reported breathlessly and often uncritically by the media. This has destroyed my family and my good name.
That was, to me, it was that he shoved it in their faces with that, because they brought up all that, what about accuser number 3 and 4? And no, okay, this is all bull jive.
And here's what I think he was doing, too, maybe even unintentionally, because I think he needed to get this out. And I'm glad he did. He wasn't shaming Democrat senators because it's not possible to shame them.
They were shocked.
They're shameless. It is not possible to shame the Cory Bookers and the Kamala Harrises and the Sheldon Whitehouses of this world. Not possible. What he was doing, with help from Lindsey Graham, ultimately, is shaming Republicans. Do not even think about folding in with these people. And I'll tell you what, yesterday and this whole saga, if this isn't a wake-up call to the Republican establishment in this country, in Illinois and everywhere else, including inside the Beltway, and by the way, Brett Kavanaugh's a part of it, and he's gotten the wake-up call of his life. Do you understand what you're up against now? Do you get it? When you watch Kamala Harris and Mazie Hirono and Cory Booker and Sheldon Whitehouse and Dick Blumenthal and Dick Durbin, do you get it? So do you want to continue to be swayed by the siren song of bipartisanship, which they don't believe for a minute? They use it as just what I said, a siren song to suck you in and have Republicans do the bidding of Democrats like we've been doing in this godforsaken state called Illinois for the past 50 years. Do you get what they're willing to do, the depths to which they are willing to sink? Brett Kavanaugh didn't before this process. He did, and I mean the last week. He didn't get it even during the first 30 hours of his testimony before the committees, the Senate Judiciary Committee. Didn't get it. He didn't get it until they, as he said, destroyed his family. And you don't think they'll come after you or anybody else
you're next.
if you're in their way, even at the local level. It doesn't have to be an international spectacle on television that's riveting the entire nation. It can be in your hamlet. It can be anywhere. Do you understand now what you are up against with the left? 312.
I will not be intimidated into withdrawing from this process. You've tried hard. You've given it your all. No one can question your effort. But your coordinated and well-funded effort to destroy my good name and destroy my family will not drive me out. The vile threats of violence against my family will not drive me out. You may defeat me in the final vote, but you'll never get me to quit.
Brett Kavanaugh gets it now. Mm-hmm. Now. But for the first 53 years of his life inside the Beltway, where he's respected and the women of the left that have said nice things about him, and Lisa Blatt, the leftist attorney who wants every Supreme Court justice to be Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who introduced them. It's all well and good. But that's not representative of what the center of gravity is on the left. And Brett Kavanaugh, and we all, not all of us, but Brett Kavanaugh had to learn the hard way at a terrible price, terrible cost. What have you learned? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. It is particularly poignant in Illinois, a state run by surrender Republicans, Vichy Republicans, who spend the entirety of their political existence trying to get approval from the institutions of the left, the actual leadership of the Democrat Party in this state, in addition to the Chicago Press Corps and all the other leftists who control the cultural institutions in Chicago like they do in most urban centers, like they do nationally. Do you get it? Watching a man and his family be destroyed because of a series of allegations that have one thing in common: a complete absence of corroboration. Frank in St. Charles, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Yeah, I always vote Republican, but I can understand his anger, but his demeanor, his uncooperative, belligerent, almost like he was drunk or like hungover from the night before, and he did not impress me at all. He seemed like, and on top of that, I think he's lying about the whole thing. He's just upset that this all came out.
And you based that on what? Just his demeanor yesterday?
Well, that's all we can base anything on. But,
no, actually not. No, that's actually not true. Thanks for the call, Frank. That's actually not true.
He needed to stick up for himself.
We also have I mean, how many times does he have to say it, Frank? The 4 people she identified as being at the party in question have not just not corroborated a story, they've refuted it. The Miss Kaiser, Leland Kaiser, says, oh, well, she's my friend, I believe her, but I've never met Brett Kavanaugh to the best of my knowledge. So she believes her because it's my friend, so I'm going to vouch for my friend.
But she never met him.
So
and that's the problem. She was supposed to be at that party
correct.
with him.
So actually, we do have a little bit more. We do have 87 women who had a press conference a week ago who've known Brett Kavanaugh for various numbers of decades and in various settings as a coach, in professional settings, the Bush White House, as people who've clerked for him as an appellate court judge. So we do have a little bit more than just what we saw yesterday.
And I thought him bringing his calendar was very impressive, and how he was out of town. He said this happened on a weekend, and this is the information that I have. Well, at least he tried to bring, he defended himself with some facts.
To the temperament thing, since Frank votes Republican, but he's channeling the new argument of the left. When he's on Martha McCallum, he's robotic, which means he's a sociopath. And he's Patrick Bateman from American Psycho because he shows no emotion. He's room temperature. So he's a sociopath on Martha McCallum. And now when he rightly expresses moral indignation, he's doesn't have the temperament to be a judge. But he had a temperament to be one of the leading appellate court justices in the nation for the last 12 years. I mean, Frank's comments are so mind-boggling to me. And it's exactly why the left wins, despite the shamelessness in which they conduct themselves. Rich Lowry from National Review on Kavanaugh. How is a person who maintains his innocence supposed to react when a political party will credit any allegation against him, when swaths of the media presume his guilt, when every aspect of his teenage years, including notations in his yearbook, are used against him, when all the testimonials in his favor and his decades of spotless public service mean nothing? Frank in St. Charles, how would you react in his position? Give me a frackin' break. Dan in Palos, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys. Good morning. I just want to say what Kavanaugh been through, I've been through, but not as in detail. I had a company in the state of Illinois here, and I was accused of being part of the CDL scandal. I lost my business after 11 years. My wife and I had hardship. I lost my retirement account just defending myself. They don't care who you are. They don't care what you do. It just protects them and themselves. And I'm sorry, and I support Kavanaugh. This is a tragedy. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call, Dan. Verlon on the south side.
I'm so glad you got rid of that middle-of-the-road Dan Prof. This is the Dan Prof I like to hear. Now, I'm a little disappointed, Dan. I expected him to say something like this. This is a circus. This is a national disgrace.
Well, he did say
this is a high-tech lynching for uppity whites that won't kowtow to the socialist agenda set forth by the Democrats. Now, you know I'm pulling your leg, right?
Yeah,
his face was awesome. I remember the Clarence Thomas trial, and this was twice as badass. Man, if it was me, I would have been dropping F-bombs all over the place like, I'm done. I just want to tell y'all how I feel. I want to get it off my chest. And the hell with all of y'all. Threw the papers up and just walked out of the place. But that man, he had more poise than anybody that called in to try to say he's supposed to be this way or that way. He had more poise, and he held it together better than anybody I know. And that stupid dude from Frank, that stupid dude Frank, could ever know, okay? Now, I want to see if the Republicans got the backbone like Lindsey Graham when he said what he had to say, and Kavanaugh, he set the pace, and Donald Trump had his back again. That's why I love my president, Donald Trump. He had his back. He gave the press a little bit, yeah, I might pull my referral, but no, he wasn't. He had Kavanaugh's back all the way through it, and that's why I love him.
All right.
So, all right.
Thanks for the call, Verlin.
Yeah.
And just in terms of Verlin, you mean he should have dropped the F-bomb like what was his friend's name? Squeegee or Squiggy or Lenny or I don't know, somebody from Laverne and Shirley. This a fun exchange between Kavanaugh and Sheldon Whitehouse, making light of the absurdity of the questions from White House.
And there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Fs in front of the 4th of July. What does that signify, if anything?
One of our friends, Squee, when he said the F word, starting at a young age, had kind of a wind-up to the F word. Kind of a and then the word would come out. And when we were 15, we thought that was funny, and it became an inside joke for how he would say and I won't repeat it here, for the F word.
Referring to Georgetown versus Louisville and...
You want to name more on the Fs?
No.
He was so defiant. I loved him. When Dianne Feinstein asked him about what's that third accuser's name, he goes, do you want to talk about that? He goes, no. And he pushes back in his chair like, no, up yours.
You, Senator Whitehouse. That's how Squee would say it.
You know, Squee.
You, Senator Whitehouse. Do you get what I'm... Now, do you understand the notation in my high school yearbook, Senator Whitehouse? Vince in St. Charles. Vince.
I was watching them as they were walking in, and I felt so bad for him and his wife. I watched his wife. She looked so bad. And at Durbin, every time he talks, he makes me sick. The Democrats will destroy anybody in their way. It's so sad what they did to this poor guy. He's a great man, and I'm back him all the way.
Thanks, Vince.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It's a fact. Workman's compensation is a mandated and burdensome expense for businesses. You've heard business owners on this station discuss the impact of workers' comp on their bottom line. This burden continues to grow every year. It's important that your company identify the risks you face and do everything possible to minimize your exposure and expense. For over 3 decades, Marty Spiegel and Miles Cahill, recent AM 560 Food for the Poor business benefactors, have effectively defended workers' comp cases on behalf of businesses and insurance companies in both Illinois and Indiana. All of the attorneys at Spiegel and Cahill understand and are sympathetic to the real burden your company faces. They excel at helping you identify and minimize your risks. The Spiegel-Cahill team is committed to being responsive and managing all of your workers' comp costs. To learn more or request a no-obligation workman's comp consultation, call Spiegel and Cahill at 630-455-4070, 630-455-4070, or visit defendingbusinesses.com. That's defendingbusinesses.com.
The last time you tried to set up for a presentation, it was a disaster. Your coworkers were embarrassed, and your clients had a look on their faces like they'd rather be anywhere else. It could have gone so much smoother with a conference room designed and installed by Midwest Computer Products. You spend precious time creating the perfect presentation, only to have it all blow up because your audio-visual equipment is outdated and not compatible with current technology. Partner with Midwest Computer Products for a space that dazzles your clients and employees and saves you the constant headache of keeping up with technology. Whether you're reimagining your corporate conference rooms, creating a huddle space, or implementing a video conferencing initiative, Midwest Computer Products is ready to help your business become state-of-the-art. And for a limited time, Midwest Computer Products is offering free design and consultation service when you upgrade your conference room. Get a quote today and see all that Midwest Computer Products can do for your business at MidwestComputer.com. That's MidwestComputer.com.
The players are fired up. The coaches are prepared for battle. The student section is rumbling. The band is ready to rock. And you're ready for victory.
Touchdown, Northern Illinois.
Every game, every victory is right here on the Husky Sports Network.
The NIU Huskies versus the Eastern Michigan Eagles this Saturday at 5. Pre-game at 4:30 right here on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. Chesterton observed that he who has gotten used to unreason is ready for unkindness. The left's big bet is a majority of Americans are not only ready for unkindness, they demand it. The more brutal, the better, as the horde feeds on frenzy, not reflection. This is on full display as the left sets aside any semblance of reason, concern for evidence, or respect for due process in pursuit of turning Brett Kavanaugh from Opie into Chucky in the public's mind. Unreason, Connecticut Senator Dick Missing in Action Blumenthal contends that confirming Kavanaugh would be an irreparable stain on SCOTUS from which it could not recover. Not Dred Scott, not Korematsu v. U.S., Brett Kavanaugh. Unkindness? Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirano says all the men of America should shut up and do the right thing for once. To be fair, Mazie didn't really mean all the men of America, just the white Christian men, not of the left, as her colleagues made clear. This is not simply a matter of overzealous Me Too minders, as their lack of interest in Keith Ellison's case illustrates. This is the prosecution of a culture war by aspiring autocrats who deify themselves and vilify non-believers. They will create heaven on earth no matter how many political, professional, or actual graveyards they have to dig.
Imagine a world where Yeti are about to discover us.
I saw a small foot.
How do you know it was a small foot?
Because it had a small foot.
Today, come face to face with a legend.
Oh, look at you. You're adorable.
Smallfoot.
Yeti or not, here we come.
Now playing. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
AM 560.
The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Vote scheduled this morning to move it out of committee. Where do the squishy Republicans stand? One of them's already weighed in, Bob Corker. Not on the committee, but an important vote. We'll discuss at 6:36.
Yeah, those squishies had a 2-hour meeting last night. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, that vote is expected at 8:30 our time. 8:30 this morning on whether to send that nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the full Senate for confirmation. That Senate committee is expected to vote this morning following Thursday's closely watched Senate hearing that saw Dr. Christine Ford testify that Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her when they were teenagers. California Senator Kamala Harris asked Kavanaugh if he was willing to ask the White House for an FBI investigation.
The FBI did conduct a background investigation into you. So are you willing to ask the White House to do that? And say yes or no, and then we can move on.
We've had 6 background investigations over 26 years.
Sir, as it relates to the recent allegations, are you willing to have them do it?
Senator Ted Cruz then ripped Democrats over the treatment of the nominee Kavanaugh.
Watching your mother's pained face has been heart-wrenching as she's seen her son's character dragged through the mud.
During a hearing yesterday, the Texas Republican called it one of the saddest chapters in the U.S. Senate. Other stories we're following this morning: the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, charging Elon Musk with fraud. The complaint filed yesterday accuses the Tesla CEO of making false and misleading statements when he floated the idea of taking the electric car company private. New Jersey could be moving closer today to banning plastic bags. The State Senate's Environment Committee advanced a bill that would prohibit stores from handing out single-use plastic bags, drinking straws, or other foam food containers. Here in Chicago, police tell us they're investigating the death of a 10-month-old girl. That infant died Wednesday at a hospital. She lived near 67th and Paxton. A Chicago mother is being accused of trying to drown her 3-year-old son days after posting on Facebook that he had died. Celeste Christian is facing attempted murder charges. A Chicago woman is accused of gunning down her cousin at a north suburban Skokie hotel, and she's pleading not guilty. Ariana Alcala was charged with involuntary manslaughter in the deadly shooting of Leslie Coronel. Jacksonville Jaguars owner and Illinois businessman Shad Khan is a step closer this morning to putting his name on the dotted line as owner of England's Wembley Stadium. The Board of English Soccer's governing body approved the nearly $800 million sale. Meantime, in addition to owning the Jaguars, Khan now owns the English soccer club Fulham, just promoted to the Premier League. Cubs blanked the Pirates 3-0 at Wrigley Field. David Bodie smacked a 2-run triple in the second, Daniel Murphy an RBI single in the fourth, and that helps the Northsiders extend their lead in the NL Central to a game over the idle Brewers. Cubs open up their final series of the regular season against the Cardinals at Wrigley, while the White Sox are in Minnesota. The news, a service of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America invites you to take steps for cures at a walk event near you. Support the 1.6 million Americans living with these diseases. Get started at cctakesteps.org. 6:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I spent years studying how to make this the best. I didn't make this because I wanted to make a company. Other companies are starting to catch on to this, and I buy every single other product that comes out so I can look at it and see it and test it. And I fear that people will buy some counterfeit and take it for a couple of months and go, oh, it's a bunch of crap. Doesn't work. Don't be fooled. This is the real stuff. We have absolutely the best process, and I can say that because we purchase every single one and check them out.
I took everything that was on the market. Nothing ever worked. Nothing ever worked. And this is the first thing that's really worked.
Nothing can compare with the benefits of balance of nature.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
Being successful in business means overcoming enormous obstacles to serve your customers and the community. We want to learn from successful businesses that are thriving. What makes them unique? Today, we hear from Mick O'Rourke, Kevin Bastuga, and Brian Duncan of Signature Bank as they tell us how I built it. Presented by Chicagoland Waterproofing.
Kevin and Brian and myself worked at a larger institution, and we saw the need to serve the middle market companies located in Chicago and the surrounding communities. And in 2005, we wrote the famous business plan and approached the regulators in 2006 and opened our doors on August 4th, 2006.
The idea of starting a true commercial bank here in the city of Chicago truly resonated with our investors and our prospects and customers. But needless to say, it was a tumultuous time. 2009 through 2012, the financial crisis was difficult to navigate. But fortunately for us, we stayed true to our roots. We worked with family-owned, privately held businesses where we had true relationships. And those businesses, they had to buckle down and they had to do the things they needed to do to survive, but we stuck with them and they stuck with us. As we approached 2019, we're almost $1 billion in assets and we're growing, and it's been very successful so far.
As the economy has improved, now we are seeing another wave of consolidation, and really what's happening is that market that we focus, the lower middle market business here in Chicago and in the Midwest, continues to be underserved. And so that personal touch that business is used to gets sort of, left in the balance.
And we're here for the long term. So whether they stay in Chicago, Franklin Park, Melrose Park, or move up to Pleasant Prairie, we're there for them. And we have the technology and the services, whether they're 90 miles away or 9 miles away.
This edition of How I Built It is sponsored in part by Signature Bank and Ozinga. To tell us about how you built your business, go to 560theanswer.com/built.
Check out the newest podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's Megan Crane. A weekly conversation about top political issues ahead of the upcoming midterm elections. Available on Apple Podcasts.
6:38. And a check of your roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Telemonte.
Rail crossings are closed across downtown Downers Grove this morning, including Main Street after a pedestrian incident involving a freight train near Main and Burlington. Crossings at Fairview, Maple, Washington, and Forest are also closed. 53 have southbound roadwork delays already. The Adamsville way to Higgins. Southbound Tri-State still tight from 2E to 190 after overnight work. Northbound from Reagan to the way to the Eisenhower. But Adams still a jam from the Tri-State out of the Kennedy. Delays continue to Cumberland and pockets from Hagel to the Burns Circle, 30 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Edens, 24 minutes, Lake Cook to the Junction. Eisenhower, 40 minutes, 390 to downtown. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to the Drive. Ryan, 41 minutes, 95 to downtown. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Sun this morning, an afternoon passing shower or two, high 63, currently 56. Next news at 7, Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to podcasts of Joe Walsh and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Dan and Amy, so the politics of this committee hearing, 8:30 this morning our time, and they're going to vote up Kavanaugh's nomination. Bob Corker, retiring senator from Tennessee, released a statement yesterday announcing he will and is supporting Kavanaugh. He said, I know it took courage for Dr. Ford to appear before the committee today. I also very strongly believe Judge Kavanaugh, like all Americans, deserves the presumption of innocence, and that it was equally as important for him to have the opportunity to address the charges and defend themselves. While both individuals provided compelling testimony, nothing that has been presented corroborates the allegation. There's no question Kavanaugh is qualified to serve on the Supreme Court, and in a different political environment, he would be confirmed overwhelmingly.
Well,
He goes on to add, I believe Judge Kavanaugh has conducted himself as well as anyone could expect throughout this process and plan to vote to confirm him. In addition, on the other side of the aisle, the report is absent any corroboration for Ford's allegations. Joe Manchin will vote to confirm
Well,
Kavanaugh.
It's funny you mentioned him because last night for 2 hours, Susan Collins, Joe Manchin, Jeff Flake, and Lisa Murkowski met behind closed doors. On the way out, a reporter from CNN just asked them, how do you feel? Are you staying? Are you going to vote for Ford or for Kavanaugh? Susan Collins had no comment. Joe Manchin said there are some concerns that people have. Jeff Flake said she offered good testimony, but so did he. And then Lisa Murkowski said she wants a chance to think about all that's gone on.
Yeah, I know. They're going to go back to,
what's in it for them.
Murkowski's going to go back to Anchorage, and Collins
Get the pulse
is
of the
going to go
people.
to Kenny Bunkport, and they're going to sit in their front room and reflect upon everything that's transpired over the last 48 hours. What a bunch of nonsense. But
they need their votes.
Not in the
not for the committee hearing to get out of committee, but
not if Joe Manchin is going with Kavanaugh.
Then we don't need.
Well, you need obviously
one more.
Yeah,
Flake, Collins.
Let's do the math, right? It's 51-49. So we'll see. We'll see. But there's clearly a full court press on, and nothing that happened yesterday is inhibiting Republicans, to their credit, after a sort of indirect shaming by Brett Kavanaugh from moving forward with this nomination, and the president of the United States tweeting out about 32 seconds after Kavanaugh's hearing concluded that this is why he supports Kavanaugh. The White House reportedly was ecstatic over Kavanaugh's performance yesterday.
Yeah, and according to sources from Fox News Channel, they said that President Trump was not happy after his interview with Martha McCallum, that he wanted to see a fighter out there.
Well,
and he was there fighting.
That's what he got. And we'll get to some of the exchanges of the senators, but I want to go back to a couple of, I thought, important moments in Kavanaugh's opening statement that demonstrated a lot about who he is and who his family is. One of them was, as he talked about at the open, the difficulty they've had in trying to explain this to their daughters, both he and his wife, and a little kicker he had in terms of the kind of daughters he's raising.
I intend no ill will to Dr. Ford and her family. The other night, Ashley and my daughter Liza said their prayers, and little Liza, all of 10 years old, said to Ashley, we should pray for the woman. It's a lot of wisdom from a 10-year-old. We mean no ill will.
I was bawling during that because that shows compassion, and then again, he's a great father.
He also discussed his formative years and his relationship with girls and women as he grew up, and this was important. What was his, since we're talking about high school yearbook committee, for goodness sakes, what were his relationships like with women? I mean, we have some indication with the letters signed by hundreds of women that punctuate his life on this planet, but you want to hear from him, too, to describe it. And he did.
But anyway, we had no social media or text or email, and we talked on the phone. I remember talking almost every night, it seemed, to my friends Amy or Julie. Or Kristen, or Karen, or Suzanne, or Maura, or Megan, or Nikki. The list goes on. Friends for a lifetime, built on a foundation of talking through school and life starting at age 14. Several of those great women are in the seats right behind me today.
He has more girlfriends than I've ever had in my life. But it was emotional. And he, don't forget, his mother and father and his sister were sitting right behind him. And he really just discussed how she shaped him and how she, made him the man that he is today.
When I was 10, my mom went to law school. And as a lawyer, she worked hard and overcame barriers, including the workplace sexual harassment that so many women faced at the time and still face today. She became a trailblazer, one of Maryland's earliest women prosecutors and trial judges. She and my dad taught me the importance of equality and respect for all people, and she inspired me to be a lawyer and a judge. Last time I was here, I told you that when my mom was a prosecutor and I was in high school, she used to practice her closing arguments at the dining room table on my dad and me. As I told you, her trademark line was, use your common sense. What rings true? What rings false?
Yeah, and so that's what we heard from him at the confirmation hearing prior to all of these allegations. But his what's transpired since the allegations is particularly important. And the additional context he's provided on his life is important. And so the women who rallied to his defense.
The committee has a letter from 65 women who knew me in high school. They said that I always treated them with dignity and respect. That letter came together in one night, 35 years after graduation, while a sexual assault allegation was pending against me in a very fraught and public situation where they knew they'd be vilified if they defended me. Think about that. They put themselves on the line for me. Those are some awesome women, and I love all of them.
That was one of the most powerful moments of the entire day for me, because it's about people rallying to you when the chips are down, the true sort of test, one of the true sorts of tests of friendship. And by the way, what of those women? All those professional women, women of accomplishment, that signed that letter, as well as the women that were there backing him up yesterday that he's known since he was talking with them on the phone in high school. What about them? Are their characterizations of Brett Kavanaugh to be believed too? Are they to be given the benefit of the doubt? Do those women matter? Or just the women parroting the left's line, the women Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Alyssa Milano, DiFi's guest for the day. Holly and Hudson, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Listening to this testimony yesterday, I was driving, so I didn't have any visual. And I just kept thinking one thing. Everybody knows somebody like her from high school, that those people who were outside looking in, who wanted to be part of the IT group. What an enviable high school experience this guy had. He and his friends, they called themselves a posse. They were with the girls with the Catholic school, the boys with the Catholic school. This was a close-knit group of fun people having a great time. This girl, as it came out, went to the wrong school, other side of town. She was outside looking in. She had a crush on Mark Judge or Brett Kavanaugh. When she said she went to the grocery store with her mother, and she went in one door and her mom went in the other, it wasn't to see if Mark Judge felt shame. She had a crush on him. When he didn't return a glance or a smile or an acknowledgement, she had to invent a reason that she was not in part of this group. I have no doubt she has made this up in her mind. For one thing, when you're locked in a bathroom, how can you see somebody pinballing down a stairway?
No,
she has invented this in her mind. She was outside looking in. And finally, what I'd like to say to the Democrats, are to all the people who are supporting her as a hero, are we women, hear us roar, deserving of a seat at the table, or are we whiny, wimpy women who can't get over a 90-second incident in our life and we've been derailed? She did it. She set women back 100 years, and anybody who honors her as strong and courageous, they are doing a disservice to women. My daughters would never have the guts to come home and say this to me because they have been raised to stand up for themselves and not let jealousy of not being part of a group invent and justify complete and utter destruction of somebody just because they didn't acknowledge you or include you in their group.
I think that
Thanks
is
for the call,
strong
Holly.
conjecture on your part, Holly, and I normally agree with you, but I don't believe she made this up. I believe something happened to her, but I think she has the wrong crew. I don't think this is out of jealousy. The reason why she brought up that Mark Judge worked at Safeway is because she saw him in Safeway, and she said it was very odd and that he looked at her strange because of him knowing what he allegedly did to her. And she wanted him questioned by the FBI because she wanted a timeline. She said that would help her decide when the attack actually happened.
Brad in West Loop.
Yeah, hi. I agree with you. I think the prosecutor, they could have picked a better one. The idea was great, but in execution it wasn't. There were many things that she should have focused on. When did you get home? Is there anybody that can corroborate your story? We know she doesn't. Do you keep a diary? We know Kavanaugh did. Those are things you could draw a stark contrast from one versus the other, and it was just missed. And lastly, are you going to file charges? These are very serious. Why haven't you yet now that this is public?
That's a great question. The others are important too, but the statute of limitations, it was asked, is your understanding that in Montgomery County there's no statute of limitations on crimes such as those alleged? He said, that's my understanding. So if that's her understanding as well, because that's the case, then are you going to file criminal charges? And if not, why not? Absolutely, that question should have been asked. Thanks for the call, Brad. Very good point. Let's you play this out. Yeah, why wouldn't you, now that you've come forward and put your name on it, why wouldn't you avail yourself of every remedy under the law? Dave on the north side.
Couple things. Hey, guys, couple things. I felt Kavanaugh came into this as a semi-known quantity. He'd been on the scene for a while. He went through the confirmation hearings. He did the interview. All these people have come out saying what you see is what you get. We just got a little glimpse into her for the first time of who she was, and everyone's saying, oh, she's so credible. The audio you played about the travel, even though it was kind of a side issue, I thought was kind of telling because she said, oh, I won't be going to Australia, kind of like, oh, it's too far, but she has flown to Tahiti. That makes no sense. Tahiti's just as far of a flight. And if you're into travel like she is, surf travel or whatever, different cultures, places like New Zealand, Australia would be a dream destination. Just that, even though it was not material, just kind of let me a glimpse into her performance as to maybe she wasn't being genuine all the time. And I tried to look at it as, even though I'm partial to the judge, kind of like I was on a jury and unaware of the case. And what you mentioned about her having 4 witnesses and none of them agreeing with what she said, if I was on a jury, that would be way above anything else that was said the whole day.
And the important
thing is her girlfriend does not know Brett Kavanaugh, her girlfriend who she was allegedly at the party with.
And the other important thing is that go ahead and file that police report. Mm-hmm. See if a police can generate a search warrant based on that, if there's any place to search, or an arrest. This thing would never get to a jury. This thing would never get to a trial. This thing would never get to arrest. You couldn't get a search warrant on what she has presented. Where would you search? You don't even know. So to your point about what she alleges versus what has been presented as corroborating or information refuting her story, in addition to the questions that remain unanswered, in part because that prosecutor left them unasked.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Aetna sells its Medicare business. Mortgage rates rise, and the latest economic reports expected today. Those stories next.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast Today's Growth. Who would win a 3-mile bicycle race, an 11-year-old girl or last year's winner of the Tour de France? It all depends on the bicycle. It depends on their vehicle. Both on a 10-speed, and the pro racer is going to win every time. But put the racer on a tricycle, and the 11-year-old wins every time. You see, it's not the driver, it's the vehicle. When it comes to generating revenue, it's exactly the same. If you have a job or a small business, you are riding a tricycle. You can only go so fast. If you need to make up lost ground, it's not going to happen on a tricycle. No matter how fast you pedal, it's simply not going to win the race. Why do many people with no schooling and no advanced degree often become very wealthy? Simple. They choose to only ride 10 speeds. When it comes to helping people create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to putting people on a 10-speed. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Aetna selling its Medicare prescription drug business, potentially clearing the way for CVS Health to complete its $69 billion takeover. CVS announced plans to buy Aetna late last year. House Republicans say they strongly favor new federal regulations on sports gambling after the Supreme Court allowed states to open sports books. They're concerned about advertisements on online gambling platforms targeting minors, as well as the potential for crooked gambling. Long-term mortgage interest rates up for a fifth straight week, the key 30-year rate reaching its highest level in more than 7 years. Costs for would-be home buyers continue to climb. In economic reports today, investors will have the latest data on consumer confidence, personal income, and outlays. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do you believe Springfield works for us? Sean Thompson from Elmwood Park doesn't.
Nobody represents me, and nobody represents you. They represent themselves.
Ann Peterson from West Chicago isn't getting her money's worth out of Springfield.
I don't believe that we're getting additional value for the additional taxes that we're paying.
Your property taxes go up, your home value goes down. Politicians waste your money. The government takes your home. Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes. Gino Fioravanti of River Forest is leaving Illinois because of high taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes. They've just gotten out of control.
It's bipartisan failure.
You either force politicians who oppose property tax caps out of office, or they force you out of Illinois. A group of independent property tax reform candidates are running to save your home. Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org to take up their fight just as they have taken up yours. You stay. The politicians go, because they're the ones who suck. SaveYourHomeNow.org.
Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Larry Nora, founder and CEO of U-Store-It, a network of award-winning self-storage facilities in the Chicago area, and a customer of Signature Bank. We've developed over 70 storage centers throughout the city and suburbs, and our business continues to grow. We need a bank who understands the neighborhoods and communities where we are making investments. We found that in Signature Bank. They know this city and its neighborhoods because they are based right here in Chicago. Finding a local banking institution like Signature Bank has been critical to the success of U-Store-It, and we look forward to a long-term relationship.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
What's happening? What does it mean? Why is it important? We've got the answer. AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Republicans are ready to do what Democrats say is premature. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Vote on Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court nomination.
Your coordinated and well-funded effort to destroy my good name and destroy my family will not drive me out.
He was defiant at yesterday's Senate hearing, denying sexual misconduct allegations.
I have never done this. to her or to anyone.
Christine Blasey Ford told a different story.
Brett groped me and tried to take off my clothes.
And she feared he might kill her in the attempted rape. Democrats pressed Ford. How sure is she it was Kavanaugh?
100%.
And Ford said she has no political motivation here.
I've had to relive this trauma in front of the world.
Now, this morning, a Senate Judiciary Committee vote is planned. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the American Bar Association is calling for the vote to be delayed until the FBI conducts an investigation. Democrats, including Dick Durbin, pressed Judge Kavanaugh on the issue.
I'm innocent of this charge.
And you're prepared for an FBI investigation?
They don't reach conclusions. You reach the conclusions.
No.
Senator.
An enraged Republican, Lindsey Graham, blasted Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation process.
This is hell.
This
is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap.
Republicans have signaled they could bring Kavanaugh for a full Senate vote early next week. Dave?
Rachel, it could have been a disaster. A passenger plane comes up short of a runway in Micronesia, goes down in a Pacific lagoon.
I thought we landed hard until I looked over and saw a hole in the side of the plane and water was coming in.
That's a passenger on Calio Edwin's Facebook page. All 47 people on board survived as boats came to the rescue. Only one is critically injured. A mid-sized jet crashed trying to land in South Carolina. The two pilots were killed. This man rushed to help the two passengers at Greenville Airport.
The two guys grabbed the female, and then I helped the guy up and we drug him off to the side.
And those two are in critical condition. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Clouds this morning at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago police say they're investigating the death this morning of a 10-month-old girl. The infant died Wednesday at a hospital. She lived near 67th and Paxton, and now the Illinois DCFS says they are also looking into that girl's death. No one hurt after shots were fired at a police car in Aurora. Authorities say the incident happened near Ohio and Claim Streets in the western suburb. Shots came from a black Jeep following behind the squad car. The murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke continues Monday. A retired CPD arms instructor yesterday testified officers were taught to shoot until a threat is eliminated.
You shoot until a threat is eliminated, and there's no telling what that could be. There's no telling how many rounds it could take to do that.
Van Dyke's legal team also called multiple witnesses in an effort to show the team was out of control and on PCP the night he was shot. The EPA will conduct air quality testing in Willowbrook following a backlash over a federal report that shows a local company may have released cancer-causing chemicals into the air. Last month, the agency found elevated levels of toxic chemicals in the air believed to have come from the Sterigenics plant, an operation that's been in Willowbrook for 3 decades. Chicago sports, John Lester, 6 shutout innings. Cubs blank the Pirates 3-0 at Wrigley Field. Cubs open up their final series of the regular season today against the Cardinals at Wrigley. White Sox begin their final series of the regular season with a double dip against Minnesota at Target Field. Ottawa beat the Blackhawks 2-1 at the UC in the NHL preseason. They'll wrap up the preseason tomorrow night at home against the Blue Jackets. The news, a service of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, inviting you to take steps for cures at a walk event near you. Support the 1.6 million Americans living with these diseases. Get started at cctakesteps.org. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I thought I had a sinus headache for a few days, but I had a massive brain aneurysm, hemorrhage of the brain, and a stroke, and I was on my deathbed. I was on a respirator in a coma for 35 days, and 3 months later, I came home in a wheelchair. I had double vision. I had to learn to walk again, to speak again. 1 and 1 is 2, write the alphabet. You know, if I went out and did a little something, I'd come home, I'd be in bed. Now, I'm up by like 5:30 in the morning, and I go to the gym. I do shopping. I cook. I have energy all day. I mean, I feel great. Overall, my whole outlook, just feeling, my mental aspect, everything is better.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do you believe Springfield works for us? Sean Thompson from Elmwood Park doesn't.
Nobody represents me, and nobody represents you. They represent themselves.
And Susan Michaud from Wheaton's home values are suffering for it.
Our property values are going down because our taxes keep going up.
Your property taxes go up, your home value goes down. The government takes your home. Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes. Gino Fiore-Avanti of River Forest is leaving Illinois because of high taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes.
Sean Thompson blames both sides.
It's bipartisan failure.
You either force politicians who oppose property tax caps out of office, or they force you out of Illinois. A group of independent property tax reform candidates are running to save your home and our state now. Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org to take up their fight just as they have taken up yours. You stay. The politicians go, because they're the ones who suck. SaveYourHomeNow.org.
Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique, but you are not alone. MAD is here to help. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org.
7:07 on AM 560. Time for a dry basement and a healthy home. Time to call Permaseal. 800-421-SEAL. A check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
On the northbound Tri-State this morning, traffic is heavy. 111th to Mile Long Bridge. Regan's all the way to the Eisenhower. That's from the Bensonville Bridge. Lawrence, southbound 53 has roadwork delays. The Adams Toll to Higgins. Edens runs 32 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, southbound 20. Kennedy, 33 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 17 from Montrose, 15 in the Express. Outbound 42 to the airport now. Eisenhower, 50 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 36. Stevenson, 50 minutes, 355 to the drive, outbound 37. Ryan, 32 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop 421. Southbound Lakeshore Drive is heavy Fullerton to North Avenue. And Downers Grove rail crossings reopened after earlier pedestrian incident. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, some sunshine gives way to clouds, a passing shower or two for the afternoon. High 63. Chilly night, turning out to be clear to partly cloudy with a low tonight of 41. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 56. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is powered by CharlesEquipment.com, keeping the lights on through summer storms.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Playing the role of Joseph Welch at yesterday's Kavanaugh hearing, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, who had quite the moment, quite the soliloquy in this Shakespearean farce that we witnessed yesterday. Lindsey,
it was a moment of his lifetime. I mean, who knew Southern Strong would be so effective?
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham. That you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process. You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend.
Clearly, and Graham...
mess with the wrong guy.
Graham had a message for his Republican colleagues in the Senate, on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Hey, Flake, listen up.
To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well. And I intend to vote for you. And I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
I'll tell you what, the Senate, yeah, definitely a sexual chocolate moment. The Senate performance yesterday, the performance of these senators, I mean, it's been like this for some time, and including in this hearing, but I mean, was Dennis Miller's long ago description of Congress as a bunch of mediocre intellects Earl-shibed into looking somewhat consequential, was it ever more appropriate to apply than to the Senate Judiciary Committee yesterday? The alternating repetitive statements, Democrats praising Ms. Ford as Susan B. Anthony and Republicans apologizing to Brett Kavanaugh, and just the two sides just repeating the same arguments over and over and over again for 9 hours. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Randy Barnett, Georgetown law professor, author of the book Our Republican Constitution, Securing the Liberty and Sovereignty of We the People, Georgetown Law, where Mazie Hirano earned her J.D. What an embarrassment.
My condolences.
Yeah, well, that should be seen as an embarrassment to Georgetown Law. I'm not sure it will be. Randy, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy.
So your reaction to Kavanaugh's performance, particularly amid the criticism he's receiving from the expected quarters, that his indignation and disgust for what he and his family have been put through displayed a temperament not befitting a Supreme Court justice.
Well, that's rich. He saved his nomination with that performance. His nomination was going down after her performance, and he saved it. But he didn't save it alone. He saved it with the help of Senator Graham. If you want to look at it, one way you could look at it is Senator Graham would never have made that soliloquy if it hadn't been for Brett Kavanaugh's credible indignation. But on the other hand, the credible indignation was his alone. It was left to him to prove that he was innocent.
Yes.
The Republicans were not helping him do that, and the counsel they retained were not helping him do that. So it was like in volleyball. He's the one that put the ball in the air, and Lindsey Graham's the one that spiked it home.
Nice. Well, and he was not only fighting for a spot on the Supreme Court. He was fighting to keep his current job. Correct?
Yeah, well, this is a canard. This is a job interview, and this is not a criminal trial, and therefore none of the rules apply. That's actually pretty ridiculous. He's being charged with criminal conduct.
Mm-hmm.
We have a system for assessing criminal charges because the charge is so serious. Sometimes the consequence is jail, sometimes the consequence is not jail, sometimes the consequence is a fine, sometimes the consequence is probation, and none of that sort of thing. It's the charge that's serious, and we have a system that's developed over centuries in order to weigh charges that serious. Charges that you have breached the normal civility that every citizen owes another citizen. You have breached your fundamental duty to the community. We have a system for that, and that system has rules. And one of those rules is the presumption of innocence. When I was on felony review in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, one of my jobs was to evaluate cases to see whether a charge should be brought. And I learned early on not to trust my gut reaction to the credibility of the witnesses who were talking to me, because they all sounded credible. Many of them sounded credible, and sometimes people who sounded incredible were still telling the truth. So the only way to make that judgment was based on corroborating evidence. If I saw, there was a moment or two when I did decide based on gut, but that was very rare. I based on corroborating evidence. That's the only way. I try to approach it like a judge, not like somebody who is a juror looking at the credibility of a particular person. Anyway, because of that, I waited for this hearing. I did not tweet about this case. I did no media. This is the first media I've done on this case. Because of the nature of the charge, I now needed to hear I needed to see the things unfold and see what corroboration there was. And not only was the charge uncorroborated in a way you'd require in a criminal proceeding, but it was contradicted by the people she said were the witnesses to it. And his calendar was affirmative corroboration of his story about how he spent his summer and what kind of person he was during that summer.
Yes.
That wasn't much to go by. But it's all we had. And the charge that he was a criminal was simply not sustained as it needed to be.
And so how did you find the performance and the questions from the lawyers on the panel? Former state attorneys general Blumenthal and Harris, a prosecutor in White House, Harano, as I mentioned, J.D. from Georgetown. How did you find the lawyers?
Well, as much as Judge Kavanaugh is being criticized for lack of judicial restraint, he exercised remarkable restraint in the case of Senator Blumenthal, who had the nerve to say to him that a lie in one thing is a lie in everything.
Yeah.
This is the man who lied about his service in Vietnam.
Yeah.
That he didn't have. He served in Vietnam when he didn't. I mean, coming from a guy like that, that was remarkable restraint, not to point out the character flaws of each of the people that were professing them to be holier than he was.
But the dark side of me wanted him to do that so bad, to say to Senator Blumenfeld, well, how was your time in Vietnam?
Or Senator Booker, claimed that he had actually fondled and molested somebody when he was younger. He himself claimed that in a story he told about himself. So anyway, look, he didn't do that. He did what he did. He was a human being. He actually acted like a human being. That's really what saved his nomination, was the fact that he was a human being. He was not a robot. He was not somebody who would just take a punch and not do anything about it. I mean, one of the things that the White House was looking for this time in nominees, and last time as well with Gorsuch, was somebody who not only had the right views, but had the intestinal fortitude to do the right thing in the face of political pressure.
Yeah.
That's what they were looking for. I didn't know for sure if they actually had found that in Brett Kavanaugh. I'm reasonably sure they did now.
I want to go back to something you sort of insinuated in passing, but the performance of Rachel Mitchell, the sex crimes prosecutor from Maricopa County that the Republicans tabbed to question Ms. Ford during her testimony. Do you think that turned out to be the right decision? How would you assess the job that she did?
I have a very mixed review of this. There's an upside and a downside. Let me take the downside first. It's Alan Dershowitz, my former professor, said correctly last night that prosecutors are not he's not alone in saying prosecutors are not really great at cross-examination because they don't get to cross-examine very often. I was a prosecutor. My single biggest failure as a professional in my entire professional life was the first time I had to cross-examine a defendant in a criminal jury trial. I did not do a good job. In fact, I did the opposite. I did a terrible job. We won the case anyway, which shows how much it mattered. But it wasn't until I got to cross-examine months later that I got to vindicate myself and show I could do it. But that's how long it took to do it again. So she was not a very good cross-examiner, and there were things she could have cross-examined about.
Like what?
So that was bad.
Such as what?
I don't really want to go into it. Well, for example, how long did she know him? On what basis did she know him? She claimed to be able to make a positive ID. No details about that. The fact that she left the party, she left her girlfriend behind in a party with rapists, supposedly, and didn't think about her at all. How did she get home? How did she get there? All the rest of it. But I don't want to go into that. I mean, but here's what. So prosecutors are good at building cases. They're not good at tearing cases down, which is what cross-examination requires. On the other hand, she did build a case. She did what prosecutors do. She built a case. She built a case about the Democratic senators' foreknowledge of this information, what the timetable of that foreknowledge was, and that, as you will notice, became the mantra of the senators. When I heard Lindsey Graham in the hallway in between sessions before he made this speech, and he was asked by the press, how do you think she did? He said, she asked the questions I hoped she would ask. And basically, the question she asked was about how the Democrats had concealed these facts from them and from the American people until they decided to spring them on in the last moment. And that was what it took I think that is what it took to convince the last Republican senators who were holding out that this was actually a travesty.
Well, I think
so. She actually accomplished maybe what it took to convince the jury of Republican senators that they needed to stand together.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, because that was what was used for much of the questioning of Kavanaugh, the back and forth between Republican and Democrat senators in terms of, you say FBI investigation, I say you had your chance, and it was that back and forth for 4 hours. That's a very good point. All right,
and she's the one that nailed down the timetable. With great detail.
Yeah, you're right. She does deserve credit for that. I agree with that. That's a good insight, and that's why you're a Georgetown law professor. Randy Barnett, Georgetown law professor, author of the book Our Republican Constitution: Securing the Liberty and Sovereignty of We the People. Randy, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
I hope to talk to you next time under happier circumstances.
Yes, us too. So. Thanks, Randy.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It's time for the Yellow Tag sales event at your local BRP dealer, where you can save big on new Can-Am off-road vehicles. Can-Am vehicles were made to perform and make the most out of any challenge. And right now, quality costs less, because you can save up to $2,000 on select Can-Am vehicles. Just stop by your local BRP dealer right now before the Yellow Tag sales event is gone. Offer ends September 30th, 2018. Certain conditions may apply. See dealer for details.
Every year, thousands overpay for a used car. They're left feeling disappointed, ashamed, and alone. Traditional pricing books only add to the confusion, offering only guesstimates and ranges. Carfax has a better way. When you search used cars at Carfax.com, you get the most accurate price based on the Carfax report, so you never have to overpay on a used car again. Start your used car search today at Carfax.com.
Hey, did you see, just talking about Lindsey Graham?
Yeah.
Maria Shriver, of all people, tweets out a picture of like an angry Lindsey Graham saying, "Oh my God, this is every woman's nightmare. This is a terrifying image." Lindsey Graham being angry.
Okay.
There's nothing terrifying about Lindsey Graham, but okay. Ben Shapiro responded to her.
Oh, I love Ben. My kids want him to run for president, but yeah, go on.
Every woman's nightmare is being trapped in the back of a sinking car, gasping for air, I'd imagine. Did you ever ask your uncle about that? Zing. Wow.
Wow. Hey, with the recent rainy weather and more here on the way, Permaseal is working hard to help homeowners across the Chicagoland area and Northwest Indiana, but they need your help. Permaseal is hiring in all departments: sales, customer service, installation. They're looking for people who have a great work ethic, who have ambition, a positive attitude, want to learn new skills, and have a desire to make the world a better, drier place. Does this sound like you? Then go to permaseal.net/careers to apply. No experience is needed. and they will teach you how to become an expert in waterproofing and foundation repair. Year-round work, tremendous growth opportunities, a fun place to work, I hear. So apply. If you want to apply, go to permaseal.net/careers. That's permaseal.net/careers. And if you're looking for a career change or a dry basement, you know who to call. Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325, or go to permaseal.net.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. And it's about to get worse. The IRS just hired an army of new tax enforcers. So, if you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. Optima has access to a special IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop that army of new enforcers from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A-rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $500 million of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. Call now for your free consultation.
Call 800-890-0144. 800-890-0144. 800-890-0144.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Let's think about customization presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty Mutual customizes your auto insurance so you only pay for what you need. So why aren't more things in life customizable? Why should I pay the same amount for a compact parking space as I do for a regular space, right? What kind of lot doesn't reward me for selflessly buying a smaller car to provide more parking room for others?
Go to libertymutual.com for a customized quote and you could save.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer.
Renowned medical correspondent and endurance race champion Bob Arnott, MD.
People ask me, how do you keep competing at the age of 70? Healthy living is important, but so is pain relief. If you have pain, you can't train. So I'm thrilled I discovered Salonpas Lidocaine Plus. This unique topical pain reliever contains 2 safe and effective anesthetics. Nothing has worked better for me.
Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, cream or roll-on.
The following is a paid political announcement.
When he went to Washington, Joe Donnelly promised to fight for Hoosier seniors. But to be a fighter, you first have to show up. Seems that Donnelly skipped nearly 1/3 of Senate Aging Committee hearings, including on serious issues like Medicare and protecting financial security for seniors. So what was Donnelly doing when he was supposed to be fighting for us? Maybe Donnelly was out driving in that RV of his, like in his TV ads. Or maybe he was filling up that RV with campaign cash. Donnelly has taken more than $2.5 million from special interest lobbyists and lawyers. And Donnelly has repeatedly voted to help his special interest backers. Typical Washington. Old Joe shows up for special interest lobbyists and lawyers, but not for us. Sounds like Donnelly's taking Hoosiers for a ride. It's time to fire No-Show Joe. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I feel wonderful. I mean, a while ago, I was walking and my whole left side went tingly. And I don't know what happened. I've had the after effects of that in my hands and my legs. And I've noticed that since I've taken the fruits and veggies, I don't have that anymore. So that is one thing that I am very, very pleased with. Because I don't feel any of that tingly sensation in my foot. It's like my nerves are getting healed or something. It's just wonderful. I love this. I'm very, very impressed with this product.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, let's take a couple calls. Andy and Crystal Lake, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, how's it going? I love your show. My question is this, and it seems to me there were 6 people at this party, but none of them, it was none of their house. Like, no one owned this house. Their parents didn't own it. I mean, so it seems to me you'd have to believe they broke into this house and did this. or someone lent them the house. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah.
It never was brought up.
Thanks for the calling. I mean,
that question wasn't asked. That's why it's so frustrating. Whose house it was, and why don't you leave with your girlfriend?
And it's interesting too. Even like if her friend
Leland Kaiser,
right, who doesn't know Brett Kavanaugh, so she says,
Never
but
saw him before.
she still believes Christine Ford. Okay, well then any of the people there, they can't identify the party to which Ford is referring. Well, any party where y'all were
Mark
there?
Judge, P.J. Smith, those guys weren't. That nobody.
They all refute it.
Yeah, they said what house party? We were at a party. There wasn't a party with just us.
George in Montclair.
Yes, I just wanted to mention the transcription of the Kavanaugh interview with the committee via phone on the 17th of September. The question was asked of him whether Feinstein was actually in the closed session, and he says she wasn't. To me, this is all part of the collusion on the part of the Democrats. So I think that should be investigated by a special prosecutor.
Well, thanks for the call, George. I don't know if we need more special prosecutors, but that point was made yesterday during the hearings that the opportunity to participate in the decision by Democrats not to, even though DiFi had knowledge, of course, of all of this for months, as did staff and potentially others. And that point was made over and over again by Republicans. Coming up at 7:37, your favorite exchange between Kavanaugh and Senate Democrats. We'll give you a few choices.
And on a lighter note, Kavanaugh is quite the beer advocate. Should he begin his own brewery? But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Clouds and 55 degrees. Senate committee set to vote on the Supreme Court nomination of Brett Kavanaugh. The Judiciary Committee is expected to vote around 8:30 this morning, following Thursday's closely watched Senate hearing in which Dr. Christine Ford testified that Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her when they were teens. Kavanaugh fiercely denied the accusations, and South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham angrily defended Kavanaugh.
And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No. The American Bar Association is calling the FBI to investigate the sexual assault allegations against Kavanaugh. Personal information of 3 key Republican senators on the committee involved in yesterday's Kavanaugh panel and hearing has been leaked online. Phone numbers and addresses of Senators Lindsey Graham, Orrin Hatch, and Mike Lee were posted. It was later taken down, but screenshots are circulating on Twitter. Passengers on board a Papua New Guinea jet have quite a story to tell after their plane landed in a lagoon early this morning. American Bill James, one of them.
Just surreal. I thought we landed hard until I looked over and saw a hole in the side of the plane and water was coming in. And I thought, well, this is not the way it's supposed to happen.
There were 47 on board that flight that landed short of the runway. A nearly week-long search is over for a missing boy in North Carolina. Authorities believe they have found the body of 6-year-old Maddox Rich in a creek near the park in Gastonia, where he disappeared last week. We're tracking powerful earthquakes jolting the Indonesian islands, destroying homes, killing at least one officially. Widespread damage has been seen. Many are being urged to stay outdoors because of the danger of strong aftershocks. It briefly triggered a tsunami warning, and the area was hit earlier in the day by a magnitude 6.1 earthquake. Here in Chicago, police continue investigating the death of a 10-month-old girl. The infant died Wednesday. DCFS is also investigating. No one hurt after someone fired several shots at a police car in Aurora. The incident happened last night near Ohio and Claim. And bail denied for a Deerfield man accused of killing his wife last week. Gary Kaman is charged with the murder of Karen Kaman. Court documents say the husband handcuffed, sexually assaulted, and eventually stabbed his wife 15 times. Kaman told police he may have blacked out on whiskey and sleeping pills. Cubs blank the Pirates 3-0 at Wrigley. White Sox begin their final series of the regular season against the Twins in Minnesota with a double dip. Senators over the Blackhawks 2-1 at the UC. Hawks wrap up the NHL preseason at home tomorrow night against the Blue Jackets. The news, a service of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, their grief is unique, but you are not alone. Matt is here to help. Call their 24-hour victim helpline, 877-MAD-HELP, mad.org, MADD.org. 734, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Got an email last night from a lady in Florida who doubted my sincerity about Relief Factor until she tried it. She tried Relief Factor. In her case, it took her almost 3 weeks, and she woke up pain-free. Relief Factor was the answer she's been looking for. This makes my 60 seconds to tell you about Relief Factor some of the happiest times of my day, because I know people are going to get the relief that they've been craving. You can get all the pain relief benefits of Relief Factor without the negative side effects of ibuprofen or prescription drugs. Physicians created Relief Factor as a crucial way to support the body's fights against aches and pains. So no matter your age, maybe you're just too sore after a great workout at the gym, or if you're like me and you're of a certain age and you want to start dealing with the aches and pains of life, give Relief Factor a try. The 3-week quick start is $19.95. Try it for 3 weeks. It's $19.95. Decide if it's for you or not. ReliefFactor.com. ReliefFactor.com, or call 800-500-8384. 800-500-8384. Relief Factor.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. Chesterton observed that he who has gotten used to unreason is ready for unkindness. The left's big bet is a majority of Americans are not only ready for unkindness, they demand it. The more brutal, the better, as the horde feeds on frenzy, not reflection. This is on full display as the left sets aside any semblance of reason, concern for evidence, or respect for due process in pursuit of turning Brett Kavanaugh from Opie into Chucky in the public's mind. Unreason, Connecticut Senator Dick Missing in Action Blumenthal contends that confirming Kavanaugh would be an irreparable stain on SCOTUS from which it could not recover. Not Dred Scott, not Korematsu v. U.S., Brett Kavanaugh. Unkindness? Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirano says all the men of America should shut up and do the right thing for once. To be fair, Mazie didn't really mean all the men of America, just the white Christian men not of the left, as her colleagues made clear. This is not simply a matter of overzealous Me Too minders, as their lack of interest in Keith Ellison's case illustrates. This is the prosecution of a culture war by aspiring autocrats who deify themselves and vilify non-believers. They will create heaven on earth no matter how many political, professional, or actual graveyards they have to dig.
Hey guys, Ken here from the award-winning podcast Today's Growth. If you had to choose sides, which camp would you rather be in? Would you rather have time and no money, or money and no time? Did you know that 95% of U.S. adults by choice have settled into these categories? Much more interesting is that 1 out of 20 people have built their life around achieving simultaneous control of both time and money. What choices did these 5% make that the others didn't? My friends at Income Store have shown both households and businesses how to build second, third, and even fourth revenue streams for the express purpose of gaining control of time. When it comes to helping folks create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Check out the newest podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's Megan Crane. A weekly conversation about top political issues ahead of the upcoming midterm elections. Available on Apple Podcasts.
7:38. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
On the northbound tri-state this morning, traffic is heavy. 111th, the mile-long bridge. Regan Tollway to the Eisenhower, then from the Bensonville Bridge to Lawrence. Southbound 53 has roadwork delays. The Adams Tollway to Higgins. Edens runs 32 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Southbound 20. Kennedy, 33 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 17 from Montrose, 15 in the Express. Outbound 42 to the airport now. Eisenhower, 50 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 36. Stevenson, 50 minutes, 355 to the drive. Outbound 37. Ryan, 32 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop 421. Southbound Lakeshore Drive is heavy Fullerton to North Avenue. In Downers Grove, rail crossings reopened after earlier pedestrian incident. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Some sun this morning, then clouds will move in. A cooler afternoon with a rain shower or two, high 63. Clear to partly cloudy and chilly, low 41. Currently, 55 degrees. Your next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, your favorite exchange with Brett Kavanaugh, a Senate Democrat. There are many to choose from. Blumenthal, Leahy, our very own Sack of Durbin, T-Bone, Booker.
Oh.
And my personal favorite.
I thought it was ladies first.
My personal favorite was Sheldon Whitehouse, but if you want
No, ladies first, so you go. No, really.
No.
No.
I don't want to be accused of, untoward acts against female kind. So please play your die-fi.
Yes, die-fi, but real quick, 20 seconds of Cory Booker's greatest hits.
There are dark elements that allow unconscionable levels of sexual assault and harassment. You are opening up to open air hurt and pain that goes on across this country. Is you are speaking truth that this country needs to understand.
And then I just was scratching my head. What?
That was him talking to Ford.
Right. That was him talking to Ford.
A lot of people have said courage. I have another word. Are you ready for my other word?
Yeah.
Heroism. You ready for my next thing?
Yeah.
I want to replace Harriet Tubman replacing Andrew Jackson and put you on the $20 bill. Yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
That's about where it was going. Cory Booker, the
open air,
the hushed tones. He's so moved. Everybody's so inspired.
It was so creepy, though.
And by the way, this is not a comment on Miss Ford. It really isn't. It's a comment on the absurd histrionics and theatrics of Senate Democrats. And there's some Senate Republicans that are absurd from time to time, too, and were yesterday, and were repetitive, just as the Democrats were. But brought to tears by your testimony that was on display by all the Senate Democrat men was an embarrassment. And they are without shame, as we talked about with Randy Barnett. I mean, all of these people are living in glass houses while they excoriate Brett Kavanaugh for being some kind of sexual predator.
I'm talking about getting the evidence and having the evidence looked at. And I don't understand, we hear from the witnesses, but the FBI isn't interviewing them and isn't giving us any facts. So all we have...
You're interviewing me. You're interviewing me. You're doing it, Senator. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're doing it. There's no conclusions reached.
And what you're saying, if I understand it, is that the allegations by Dr. Ford, Ms. Ramirez, and Ms. Swetnick are wrong.
Yeah, that is
obviously
emphatically what I'm saying. Emphatically. The Swetnick thing is a joke. That is a farce.
Would you like to say more about it?
No.
Then he pushed back in his chair.
Wow. I mean, Dianne Feinstein, who's the responsible party for the failure to, have all kinds of time to pursue witnesses, for the FBI to go question everybody, put together a nice little report for all the senators to reference. So let me see. After the 45-minute opening statement you made, here's my takeaway. Mm-hmm. You're denying the allegations against you? Do I have that right? Hey, thanks for paying attention, Di-Fi. I mean, honestly, the absurdity of this. But that wasn't even close to the most farcical moment or the most farcical senator. Now, again, people can quibble. That's why we'll take your calls and we'll have a little plebiscite on it.
312-642-5600, Turnkey Pro answer.
But for my money, Sheldon Whitehouse, another one of these one of the lefts, officers of the court. Whitehouse is an attorney, along with Blumenthal, former state AG, and Kamala Harris, former state AG, and Mazie Hirano, Georgetown Law. Remarkable. Sheldon Whitehouse doing a forensic interrogation of Brett Kavanaugh's high school yearbook.
High school yearbook? Okay.
Uh-huh. And if you thought Brett Kavanaugh was a little fun and testy with Di-Fi, yeah.
Did the word Ralph
Unibus?
Did the word Ralph you used in your yearbook relate
I already
to
answered the
alcohol?
question. If you're,
Did it relate to alcohol?
I like
You
beer.
haven't answered that.
I like beer. I don't know if you do.
Okay.
Do you like beer, Senator, or not? What do you like to drink?
Next one is
Senator, what do you like to drink?
I love that. My favorite, one of my favorite moments. I mean, of this smart ass like, you White House. What do you like to drink? I like beer.
No, I
What
want
do
to know
like?
what you like to drink.
Yeah, let's get a drink. Hey, it's Miller time, Senator. I'll buy the first round, Senator White House. What do you want?
Well, speaking of beer, I mean, he did mention beer. He's an advocate for the beer.
I never sexually assaulted anyone. There is a bright line between drinking beer, which I gladly do, and which I fully embrace, and sexually assaulting someone, which is a violent crime. If every American who drinks beer or every American who drank beer in high school is suddenly presumed guilty of sexual assault, we'll be in an ugly new place in this country. I never committed sexual assault.
It sounds like an episode of Cheers with Norm being accused of sexual assault. The way he talks about beer, but now back to White House. So they started with Rolfing. What does that mean?
That has what they thought he was Rolfing.
Right.
Yeah.
Sheldon Whitehouse,
I haven't heard that word in years.
being interviewed by your great grandfather about teenage nomenclature. Painful.
I don't know if it's buffed or boofed. How do you pronounce that?
That refers to flatulence. We were 16.
Okay. And so when your friend Mark Judge put the same thing in his yearbook page back to you, he had the same meaning. It was flatulence.
I don't know what he did, but that's my recollection. We want to talk about flatulence at age 16 on a yearbook page. I'm game.
I'm game. Let's talk. I got all the time in the world to talk about flatulence at a yearbook page. I'll make the time, Senator Whitehouse. And it continued.
Devil's Triangle.
That's a sex move.
Drinking game.
How's it played?
3 glasses in a triangle.
And?
Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing.
You ever played quarters?
No.
I'd love
Okay,
quarters.
it's a quarters game.
No, tell me about it.
Love quarters.
Would you?
Well, no, you have to ask the follow-up is how many did you ever get in a row? And did you do it off your nose or through your teeth? Didn't ask that question, did he?
No, because of course Sheldon Whitehouse is playing dumb and he pretends that he's just recently heard of alcohol. Sheldon Whitehouse still lives in the first part of the 20th century when there was prohibition. I mean, but not all.
I want to hear more.
Not
please.
all.
And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 F's in front of the 4th of July. What does that signify, if anything?
One of our friends, Squee, when he said the F word,
I went to prom with
starting at a young age, had kind of a wind up to the F word, kind of a, and then the word would come out. And when we were 15, we thought that was funny, and it became an inside joke for how he would say, and I won't repeat it here, for the F word.
Referring to Georgetown versus Louisville and...
You want any more on the Fs?
No.
I just love it. Go back. You want any more? Come on. Let's break this down
Fs.
some more. Yeah, I'll give you the Urban Dictionary Georgetown Prep 1982 version, Senator Whitehouse. Any other questions? You, Senator Whitehouse. Now do you see how we used it? You see how Squiggy or whoever
Squeaky.
Captain
Squiggy.
Queeg, whoever it was. I love that. That was the best. I mean, what a great moment in United States Senate history, proving yet again it's the world's greatest deliberative body, that it's the vanguard of the republic, by putting every high school yearbook committee in this country on notice. Thank you, Senator Whitehouse. Kavanaugh should have been more sarcastic. Scott in Sycamore, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning.
Morning.
You know, the thing that's kind of funny and really sad is, some of the things that were said by this Dr. Ford. One of the biggest ones that stands out to me was her saying that she couldn't remember details, but then said her husband told her it was Brett Kavanaugh. you can't remember details and other people are having to tell you who it is, that's a huge red flag. And going from you didn't tell anybody about it to I told my therapist, then I told my husband, and all of a sudden you told all these people, and your friends that you said you told are all denying it. How is this not being thrown up in the news? Instead, it's just, oh, it was so moving, and all the other BS. Just seems a little ridiculous.
Thanks for the call, Scott. There are some gaps there. I don't know quite how you characterize them, but there are some conflicting characterizations of when she named Brett Kavanaugh. Did it just happen in July, as she said, with a letter to Dianne Feinstein and the interaction with her California congressman? Or did it happen in therapy sessions, as her husband said that's when it first happened?
First time that happens during the remodeling in 2012. And he said, why do you want a second door? And she said, well, because I was sexually assaulted.
Why are you in therapy over a remodeling project?
Oh, remodeling causes a lot of consternation in marriages. Remodeling projects, if you're unemployed, and job changes. They're and moving. Those are the key triggers. This is another reason why you're not married.
Exactly. Let's jot those down for a future Why Dan Prof to Single. Tackle that later. Ralph and Rantoul, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning. Long hearing, much to say, still processing, still screaming. I think I screamed through most of the night. But when Kavanaugh was asked about the Fs, he could have referenced the Who tune, My Generation, which, why don't you all fade away?
Thanks, Ralph. Holly from Hudson tweeting, Kavanaugh's first home brew beer should be named Squee.
Oh, because I thought he should start his own brewing company and call it Virgin Ale.
I don't get it.
Because he's a virgin.
Yeah. Well, he's not anymore.
No,
he's got
not
daughters.
Anymore. Exactly.
I like White House.
That would be a good, summer blend.
Yeah. All right, we'll take suggestions for a Kavanaugh brewery or microbrew as well. Mike in Pleasant Prairie.
Hey, happy Friday, Dan and Amy. It really is a wonderful life when Lindsey Graham as George Bailey and John McCain as Clarence the Angel says, yes, you finally got your conservative almond. I really do feel like that was a transformational day.
Thanks for the call, Mike. Again, it was to make a McCarthy-era comparison since there are some similarities. It was a Joseph Welch moment that Lindsey Graham had, I think. Bart in Park Ridge.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
It struck me as odd that when, Ford is talking to Durbin and he's asking about the encounter she has with Judge at the grocery store, she says she went in separate entrances with her mom, and she says hi to him. Now, she supposedly was just practically raped by Judge and Kavanaugh 6 weeks earlier. So why did she go up to him and say hi to him? It seemed like very odd behavior for somebody that was just practically raped. It had such a traumatic experience on her. It damaged her for forever.
No, what she
said that for 4 years after that, she was like, it's in a damaged state. Seems very odd that she just walks up to the potential rapist in a grocery store and says hi to him.
Well, what she said is she went through a different door because it was teenage years and you don't want to be seen with your mom. That's what she said. And that she ran into him. He was near, she didn't say he was working the register, but he was in that area. And she just ran into him. And she said that he had a look, like a shocked look on his face when he saw her.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you want to interpret that, but that's why she went into separate doors and she said she ran into him.
Right.
And he was working at the Safeway.
Bob in Waukegan.
Yeah, I just got to tell you, my wife laughed out loud when she heard you call Dick Durbin Sack of Durbin a couple weeks ago. She doesn't listen to the show, but my Wall Street Journal gets to my house about 5 o'clock in the morning, so I read my Wall Street Journal and I have you and Amy on the radio right next to me.
Very nice.
So I have some suggestions for you since you're witty about names. We should not call Cory Booker Spartacus. We should call him Sparnaticus because he's nowhere near. We should also call Adam Schiff. It should be Adam full of Schiff.
Yes.
And Eric Swalwell should be Eric Swallow Crap Well. So there's 3 more for your repertoire.
Thanks for the call and the contributions there, Bob. be remiss if we didn't include, as an entrance into best exchange between Kavanaugh and a Senate Democrat, straight out of Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, Dick Blumenthal. This exchange, I mean, this guy.
Okay,
we talked about it with Randy Barnett. This guy, starting off with the jury instruction in Latin.
Unibus falsus in omnibus. Are you not? You're aware of that jury instruction?
Yeah, I am.
You know what it means?
You can translate it for me, Senator. You can do it better than I can.
False in one thing, false in everything, meaning in jury instructions that some of us as prosecutors have heard many times, is told a jury that they can disbelieve a witness if they find him to be false in one thing. So the core of why we're here today really is credibility.
How's Vietnam?
Let me talk.
The core of why we're here is an allegation for which the 4 witnesses present have all said it didn't happen.
Let me ask you about Renata Dolphin, who lives in Connecticut. She thought these yearbook statements were, quote, horrible, hurtful, and simply untrue, end quote, because Renata alumni clearly implied some boast of sexual conquest. And that's the reason that you apologized to her, correct?
That's false, speaking about the yearbook, and she said she and I never had any sexual interaction. So your question is false, and I've addressed that in the opening statement. And so your question is based on a false premise and really does great harm to her. I don't know why you're bringing this up, frankly. Doing great harm to her by even bringing her name up here is really unfortunate.
Yeah, but what's the Latin phrase, Senator Blumenthal, for D-bag?
El D-bag.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
It's a great product. And the one thing I like about it the most is that when you open the bottles, you can smell like the scent of the fruits and veggies. It's no genius thing to it. It's really just fruits and veggies, which everyone needs. And you guys kind of put it in a way where you can take it easy and you can get it, and it's natural, and that's what I like about it. I like the product, and I've taken it, and it's definitely made me feel a lot better. I'm a healthy person to begin with, but it's definitely good prevention, and it's definitely gives me energy, and I feel like it's a natural thing. I like it. I really do.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do you believe Springfield works for us? Sean Thompson from Elmwood Park doesn't.
Nobody represents me, and nobody represents you. They represent themselves.
Ann Peterson from West Chicago isn't getting her money's worth out of Springfield.
I don't believe that we're getting additional value for the additional taxes that we're paying.
Your property taxes go up, your home value goes down. Politicians waste your money. The government takes your home. Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes. Gino Fioravanti of River Forest is leaving Illinois because of high taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes. They've just gotten out of control.
It's bipartisan failure.
You either force politicians who oppose property tax caps out of office, or they force you out of Illinois. A group of independent property tax reform candidates are running to save your home. Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org to take up their fight just as they have taken up yours. You stay. The politicians go, because they're the ones who suck. SaveYourHomeNow.org.
Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. A great ball player doesn't just hit home runs. He puts the ball in play or gets on base every time he can. And that's what we want to do for you, so that you can be ready for your postseason play, your retirement.
That's why our whole team at Wealth Management Group has their game face on and is ready to help you.
Step up to the plate and make Wealth Management Group part of your financial force.
Start at investwithwmg.com and tune in each week to In the Know Sunday mornings at 10 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Republicans are ready to move forward with Brett Kavanaugh. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We're going to win. He's going to be on the court.
A confident Senator Lindsey Graham moments ago on Fox, the day after Kavanaugh's first accuser testified that he tried to rape her at a party 36 years ago.
It was hard for me to breathe, and I thought that Brett was accidentally going to kill me.
Christine Blasey Ford also testified she's not politically motivated and
I've seen my life picked apart by people on television, on Twitter.
Kavanaugh also said it's taken a toll.
This has destroyed my family and my good name.
And he denied over and over that he assaulted Ford, setting the stage for this morning's Judiciary Committee vote. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the committee could give Judge Kavanaugh a favorable recommendation or no recommendation. Either way, he'd likely proceed to the full Senate for a vote. John Cornyn, the number 2 Republican in the Senate, is feeling hopeful.
My colleagues, some of them have requested additional information, which we have gotten for them, and I'm optimistic we'll confirm the judge.
Democratic whip Dick Durbin says it's too soon for the committee to vote.
I wish they wouldn't. Hurrying this thing through at this point, I don't think it's fair.
Like Durbin, the American Bar Association is calling for the vote to be delayed. The full Senate could take a final vote on Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation, perhaps Tuesday. Dave.
And Rachel, that committee meeting starts at about a half hour. A terror bust in the Netherlands that might have stopped something big. 7 men arrested.
Prosecutors saying the group was attempting to source weapons and that Dutch spies believe they were planning 2 assaults, a gun and bomb attack on a large event, although the target hasn't been identified, and a separate car bombing.
That's Fox's Simon Owen. The passengers on a flight to Micronesia have a story to tell forever. Their plane came up short of the runway today, crash landed in a Pacific lagoon. All 47 people on board survived. Only one has a critical injury. This is Fox News. Fair and balanced.
Cloudy skies this morning, 55 degrees at 8:02. On AM 560, The Answer, good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago police are investigating the death of a 10-month-old girl. The infant died Wednesday at a hospital. She lived at 67th and Paxton, and this morning the Illinois DCFS is also looking into her death. No one hurt after someone fired shots at a police car in Aurora. Authorities say the incident happened overnight near Ohio and Claim Streets. Shots came from a black Jeep following behind the squad car. The murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke continues on Monday. Yesterday, a retired Chicago police firearms instructor testified that police are taught to shoot until a threat is eliminated.
You shoot until a threat is eliminated, and there's no telling what that could be. It's no telling how many rounds it could take to do that.
Van Dyke's legal team also called multiple witnesses in an effort to show the teen was out of control and on drugs the night he was shot. The EPA will conduct more air quality testing in Willowbrook following a backlash over a federal report that shows a local company may have been releasing cancer-causing chemicals into the air. Last month, the agency found elevated levels of toxic chemicals in the air believed to have come from the Sterigenics plant, a plant that has been operating in Willowbrook for 3 decades. Jobless rates are going down in many parts of the state. Preliminary data released yesterday shows unemployment rates decreased in all 13 major metropolitan areas between August 2017 and August of 2018. Cubs blank the Pirates 3-0 at Wrigley and have a 1-game lead over the idle Brewers now. White Sox begin their final series of the regular season today against the Twins in Minnesota. Senators over the Blackhawks in the NHL preseason 2-1. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, securities regulators were apparently on the verge of a settlement with Tesla CEO Elon Musk when he and his lawyers decided to fight the case rather than settle charges. Musk is accused of misleading shareholders when he tweeted he had funding to take the company private. Later, he reversed his decision and decided to keep Tesla public. Now the SEC is threatening to take away Musk's ability to ever run a public company. Tesla's board is standing by Musk. Apple shares rallied yesterday, up 2% after a J.P. Morgan analyst's upbeat comments. J.C. Penney's chief financial officer is leaving the struggling company after about a year. Jeffrey Davis says he's pursuing another opportunity. He previously was with Darden Restaurants and Walmart. The Dow was up 54 yesterday. NASDAQ added 51. S&P gained 8. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosolda.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Don't miss Freedom Summit 2018, presented by Geiger Wealth Management, Chicagoland's retirement expert, on Saturday, October 27th. This year, featuring headline speakers, former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark and James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. Also appearing, AM 560's Mike Gallagher, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, and Joe Walsh. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Chicagoland Waterproofing and by Tom Mirabaldi, independent agent for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Makers and doers, have you heard of the Technology and Manufacturing Association? TMA represents nearly 1,000 manufacturers and over 30,000 manufacturing employees in the Chicagoland region. Headquartered in Schaumburg, TMA is a comprehensive resource for Midwest manufacturers looking to improve operations, strengthen their workforce, and grow their business. We strengthen our members by providing business support services, events, networking opportunities, and government advocacy. TMA is also a leader in training and education, helping our manufacturers develop the talent they need to grow and thrive. At our Schaumburg Training Center, our industry-leading instructors are providing hands-on training to prepare the next generation of makers. The TMA Education Foundation has donated over $1.5 million to area schools, providing young people with exposure to today's high-tech and high-paying manufacturing jobs. As a leading voice in an evolving industry, TMA cultivates and strengthens our members. Consider joining our member-driven association as we support each other. Learn more at tmaillinois.org.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
8:07, a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Eden's inbound traffic stop and go Elston to Montrose. 26 minutes either way, but Lake Cook and Montrose. Kennedy, delays starting at Nagel. 58 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 38 from Montrose, 30 on the Express. Outbound 42 to the airport. Eisenhower, 50 minutes, 390 to downtown. 33 from Mannheim. Outbound 45 to 390. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 41. Ryan is 37 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 24 minutes, ID to the merge, Bishop Ford, 21. Southbound Tri-State, bumper to bumper, from the Adams Toy to Lawrence. Northbound delays, 95th to Ogden, and from the Reagan Toy to Lawrence. So on Reagan Toy, still 59 at Naperville Road. On Veterans Memorial, 463rd to Finley. It's traffic, I'm Jim Talamonte. From the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Some sun to start the day, then clouds will increase, bringing around a passing shower or two for the afternoon. Temperatures falling into the lower 50s by evening from a high today of 63. Chilly night, mainly clear, low 41. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
55 at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Retirement Zone Radio and the North Shore Capital Group, empowering you Saturday afternoons at 4.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We have a couple more entrants to present in terms of best exchange between Kavanaugh and a Senate Democrat at yesterday's hearing. We've gone through White House. We've gone through Blumenthal, Senator missing in action. We've given you a little bit of T-Bone Booker. You got your sack of Durbin. Hey, just turn to Don McGahn. Just turn right now and repeat these words. But I want to get Patrick Leahy in here too. You know, one of the grand elders of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He's been an embarrassment longer than Cory Booker's been alive. This was part of their exchange, Kavanaugh and Leahy, yesterday.
Now, you've talked about your yearbook. In your yearbook, you talked about drinking and sexual exploits, did you not?
Senator, let me take a step back and explain high school.
Yes, that you haven't
I was
gone
number
100
one in the
years.
class. Freshman.
And I thought
No.
I thought only the Senate.
You got this up. I'm gonna talk about my high school. No. I'm gonna
let him answer.
I'm gonna talk about my high school record. If you're gonna sit here and mock me.
Yeah, talk about how he's number one in the class.
Love that.
His freshman class. Played a number of sports.
The record is not what's interesting. What's interesting is that was the indication that he was going to take the fight to them more than just in his opening statement. You want to mock me? Then I'm going to talk about it, and you're not going to, bulldoze me. And I don't need Chuck Grassley to run interference either. I'll just talk over you. So that was great. And now your leader, I'm partial to Sheldon Whitehouse in that exchange. You're partial to Di-Fi.
Right. And this is just for a highlight for me.
Brett's assault on me.
Oh, gosh, that was not it. Stand by. Here we go.
Crazy stuff. Gangs, illegitimate children, fights on boats in Rhode Island. All nonsense. Reported breathlessly and often uncritically by the media. This has destroyed my family.
And it was just, he just in 30 seconds was able to put, what has happened to him in his life and his wife's life and his family's life just by all these crazy allegations about a docked boat, a fight on a docked boat in Newport, Rhode Island.
It was
gang rapes.
It was repeating in part what he offered in his opening statement, but it was important that he repeated that in Dianne Feinstein's direction because she's the proximate cause of this entire Shakespearean farce. Now, there are willing participants in it, but she is the instigator because of how she handled the Christine Ford letter, as was bandied about for hours on end yesterday. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined again by our friend Victor Davis Hanson, National Review columnist, senior fellow at the Hoover Institution, and author of many books, including his latest one, The Second World Wars, How the First Global Conflict Was Fought and Won. VDH, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So let me ask you this before we get kind of your take on the day that was yesterday. Do you think everything we saw yesterday, the sum total of it, does that change our politics for the foreseeable future, or will this be forgotten in a week or after November 6th?
No, I think it's sort of the progressive way of doing things. I mean, usually Republicans approve Democratic nominees. It's usually a one-way circus. So I think the idea, again, is the progressive idea that they have such noble aims, in this case, stop Roe v. Wade or mandated equality, whatever the particular slogan is, that any means necessary or justified in pursuing them. And that's pretty much what you saw. So you had the U.S. Senate reduced to people, arguing over a slogan in a yearbook.
Yeah.
And that's where we are now.
Well,
And that-
but
and-
but my question is, how would this change our politics? Because establishment Republicans, including the likes of Brett Kavanaugh, who apparently haven't understood exactly what they're dealing with. Brett Kavanaugh understands now. The question is, do establishment Republicans understand that now, or are they still going to fall prey to the left siren songs?
Yeah, I think it was kind of like, if I could use a military metaphor, it was like the Battle of Austerlitz with Napoleon. He lost it at 9 o'clock and he won it at noon. So when I watched Miss Mitchell sort of be outsourced as the interrogator for the Republicans, it was a disaster because she was very polite, sort of milquetoasty. She made a few points in irregularities in Miss Ford's testimony, but there was no point to her interrogatories, and she took the Republicans out of the game. And then everybody said that Ford was empathetic, and she probably was in a way, even though she was contradictory and had no evidence. So by noon, it looked like they'd just given up, and I think they were going to lose not just the Kavanaugh nomination, but the midterm. But then suddenly, about halfway through the session with Kavanaugh, Lindsey Graham just sort of made the best speech of a Republican politician since Reagan in that 1980 New Hampshire primary, when he said, "No, I'm paying for this microphone." And he really set everybody alive. And they sort of junked Mitchell, Miss Mitchell, and then they all came out, Orrin Hatch and others, and they did pretty well. And then, of course, Graham was reacting to Kavanaugh, who decided that he wasn't going to play by the Marcus of Queensberry rules anymore, in which the Republicans usually do and lose. So it was just two different days. There was a morning disaster, then there was an amazing recovery. I think such a recovery that he's probably going to be confirmed.
Well, how do you think Lindsey Graham's defiant tone, though, will play with some of the undecideds, such as Collins and Murkowski and Manchin?
Well, he was very smart because he pointed his finger at Republicans, and he said any Republican that doesn't vote for Kavanaugh is basically in league with these people. And what he was saying was, I'm pretty much a moderate Republican, like they are, but I've had it. You know, this is. I think I wrote last night in National Review. This is a Joseph N. Welch moment. Have you no decency? And basically the Democrats were replaying the collective role of McCarthy, Joe McCarthy. So it was pretty powerful. And I think the better question is, if you were a Joe Manchin or Tester in Montana, it's going to be kind of hard now after watching this thing to vote no on Kavanaugh. And I think they're hoping that the Republicans have 51 votes, so then they can, 2 or 3 of these senators can join in affirming it.
I found it rather entertaining, as did Georgetown law professor Randy Barnett, we talked to earlier in the show. The left has gone from Brett Kavanaugh is Patrick Bateman in American Psycho, per his Martha McCallum interview. You know, he's cold and emotionless and robotic. He's a sociopath. To now, because he was defiant and disgusted yesterday, now he doesn't have, despite his 12 years on the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for D.C., does not have the temperament to be a member of the Supreme Court. And your colleague over at National Review, I thought, had a nice paragraph to put to people who are inclined to parrot that line. Rich Lowry writes, how is a person who maintains his innocence supposed to react when a political party will credit any allegation against him, when swaths of the media presume his guilt, when every aspect of his teenage years are used against him, when all the testimonials in his favor and his decades of spotless public service mean nothing? I think that's not only a great defense of Brett Kavanaugh's emotion yesterday, I think it's a great commentary of where our politics find themselves.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's a reminder that for all the staged, scripted process of that committee and all of the machinations of Dianne Feinstein, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, really history's sort of made by moments, just a few moments of people who get defiant. And what that whole day ended up as is about, 2 or 3 minutes in which Kavanaugh and Lindsey Graham just said, you know what, this is a sham, I'm not going to put up with it anymore. You're basically trying to destroy a man over his high school yearbook, and you've had no evidence, you have no corroboration, you have no testimony that's valid. I'm not going to do it anymore. And the emotion and the reason and the logic sort of changed the entire atmosphere in just a few seconds. Because before that, it was hard to watch in the morning because you thought, wow, this is nothing but fantasy, and we're all talking about emotions and that she's empathetic and she doesn't remember this, doesn't remember that. We started the morning with no evidence whatsoever to corroborate her testimony. We ended the morning with no evidence to corroborate, yet that everybody's suggesting that she's sunk the Kavanaugh nomination. And just, I think a total of about 3 minutes of pretty powerful testimony and emotion. It reminded me of Network when Howard Beale, the Peter Finch character, went out and said, "I'm mad as hell, I might not take it anymore."
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what that moment was. And I admired Lindsey Graham at the end, sort of the pinnacle of his career. He saved it in many ways. He's redeemed himself as a conservative in a way that Dianne Feinstein, as an octogenarian, really ruined her career. And so there was two different stories, narratives there, but he was redeemed, and I think she really ruined it because she comes off really, really poorly.
The authenticity of Kavanaugh, too, I found compelling. And there were some indicators that was the authentic Kavanaugh because he's not very good at it in some respects, because he's not used to going there. He's used to being the congenial guy who, is optimistic and happy-go-lucky and loves doing all these civic events and hanging out with his friends and so forth. And one of the moments I thought he missed was when Cory Booker was carrying on about Christine Ford telling her truth. She came here to tell her truth. This sort of construct of the left, and it was such an opportunity for Kavanaugh to say, "Senator, there is no her truth, there is no his truth, there's just the truth, and I'm telling the truth." And I guess that's what distinguishes me from you. Some moment like that for some more substantive intellectual pushback against the left.
Well, that's a postmodern trope that there's competing narratives, and those with power privilege a particular narrative that otherwise doesn't really deserve to be valid, and that was what he was trying to do. But I do think that they had so demonized him as sort of a white frat boy nerd,
right?
That he was ineffectual, and he was a representation of this sort of wealthy, corrupt prep school culture that nobody thought he was up to the fight, and he might be a John Roberts or something if he was on the court. And I think what they've done is they've made him into a Clarence Thomas that if he does get confirmed, he's going to be more Scalia-like. He's going to be tough. He's not going to forget what they did to him. And in a really ironic way, they've radicalized him. And they did that with Thomas, who ended up as the most conservative member of the court. I think that Kavanaugh is more likely now to be far more conservative and militant almost than he would otherwise. And I think you saw that today, that he's not just this old frat boy who nods up and down. He's pretty fiery. He's got a toughness and defiance that I think it's kind of reassuring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a different side of him we've never seen, and I liked it. Back to Christine Ford, do you believe that she was assaulted or that an incident did happen?
I believe that when people are 15 years old, 36 years, that there were drinking at parties and there was roughhousing, and I believe somebody may have misinterpreted a roughhouse too much, and that I don't know what, and I even believe that maybe what she said happened with a bunch of boys. I don't know. I don't think she'll ever be able to prove it. But I believe that things happened in her life that she's not comfortable with. In other words, that her life didn't turn out the way she wants it. And so a lot of people, especially psychotherapists, go back and they say, what incident is responsible for me not being as happy as I should have been? And then they start to exaggerate or magnify it. I don't think that Brett Kavanaugh jumped on top of her and tried to rape her. Not at all. I think it was anybody who said that's seared into her memory and can't remember how she got there, how she left. If there's 4, 5, 6 people, if there's 2 girls, no girls, and then can't find 1 ounce of testimony. For me, the 2 things made it really disingenuous when she said she couldn't fly, and now we find out she not only flies for business, she flies all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Second of it, when she wrote that letter and said, and I sought medical treatment for this, everybody was expecting that some receipt from an emergency room or a family physician would turn up. And what she was really trying to say is pass off medical treatment 30 years post facto, going in and talking to a marriage counselor and bringing it up. That's not medical treatment for an assault. I'm sorry, most people didn't accept that. So there were moments in her testimony that told me that, this person is seriously disturbed and she has an incident that probably of some sort happened, but she so magnified it or situated it that there's no way to know where it happened or what it was. I think that happens a lot to people.
He is Victor Davis Hanson, National Review columnist, senior fellow at the Hoover Institution, and the author of The Second World Wars, How the First Global Conflict Was Fought and Won. VDH, thanks as always for joining us, providing your insights. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast Today's Growth. Who would win a 3-mile bicycle race, an 11-year-old girl or last year's winner of the Tour de France? It all depends on the bicycle. It depends on their vehicle. Both on a 10-speed and the pro racer is going to win every time. But put the racer on a tricycle and the 11-year-old wins every time. You see, it's not the driver, it's the vehicle. When it comes to generating revenue, it's exactly the same. If you have a job or a small business, you are riding a tricycle. You can only go so fast. If you need to make up lost ground, it's not going to happen on a tricycle. No matter how fast you pedal, it's simply not going to win the race. Why do many people with no schooling and no advanced degree often become very wealthy? Simple. They choose to only ride 10 speeds. When it comes to helping people create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to putting people on a 10-speed. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
It's going to be the best live read of your life. I can feel it.
It's a lot of pressure.
Don't mess this up, Dan.
I heard Prager do this live read on his show yesterday. I was listening to Prager for a while.
Yeah? How did he do?
It was okay. My live read is much better.
All right, let's see. I'll decide,
and
okay?
Then you can listen to Prager's and see what you think.
3, 2, 1, go.
Pain drugs are addictive and have side effects. Get off the drugs. Get rid of the pain. You do not need to live with chronic pain. Let's repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst from an accident or pain that just develops. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the most respected and successful pain doctors in the world. Dr. Candido will work to find the source of your chronic pain and fix it. He teaches pain management around the world and has been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Okay, you got it. He's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off the pain medication and all of its side effects. You can get your life back. Drugs mask the pain, find the source, and fix it. Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain. You be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info at mypainchicago.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I spent years studying how to make this the best. I didn't make this because I wanted to make a company. Other companies are starting to catch on to this, and I buy every single other product that comes out so I can look at it and see it and test it. And I fear that people will buy some counterfeit and take it for a couple of months and go, oh, it's a bunch of crap. Doesn't work. Don't be fooled. This is the real stuff. We have absolutely the best process, and I can say that because we purchase every single one and check them out.
I took everything that was on the market. Nothing ever worked. Nothing ever worked. And this is the first thing that's really worked.
Nothing can compare with the benefits of Balance of Nature.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
You remember a simpler time when family fun was about having fun. It didn't include the kids glued to their tablets or smartphones. Well, real family fun is back at Gobert's Pumpkin Patch. For almost 70 years, Gobert's has been Chicagoland's family destination for fall fun.
This was the most fun day ever. My parents were there, my kids were there. There was a pumpkin patch, a maze, a haunted house, slides, a train, a fresh market, and there was so much more. I loved it.
It's a family tradition for us to visit Gobert's every October. The pumpkins are great, the attractions are fun, and the apple cider donuts are to die for.
Loved it. One price to get in, and almost all the activities were free. My kids had a blast.
Listen to the kids.
My mom loves the homemade caramel apples.
I have to say,
say, the pumpkin cannon is cool.
They got a pumpkin-eating dinosaur. The live giraffe is really cool.
I love the jumping pillow and the Pumpkin Express train ride.
Gobert's Pumpkin Patch in Pingree Grove. Pick apples, explore the pumpkin patch, play games, ride the train. Gobert'sPumpkinPatch.com. Harvesting family memories.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so the Senate Judiciary Committee is getting their act together, best as they can, and preparing to vote on the Kavanaugh nomination. We'll keep you updated on that.
I can't wait to see what Jeff Flake does.
Oh, that's sort of the
that's the one
the
everybody's
only wild
looking
card.
at. Yep.
Yeah, right. Next Friday, October 5th, join Jeannie Ives and me at the Illinois Family Institute's Faith, Family, and Freedom Fall Banquet.
Oh, yeah, because I want to spend more time with you. What
You can spend time with Jeannie or the people at IFI. You don't have to talk to me.
Dan who? Oh, he's in the bathroom.
George Barna, he's the featured speaker, the most quoted person in the Christian church today. George Barna, get your tickets at illinoisfamily.org. And today we're giving away 2 pairs of tickets to join Jeannie Ives, George Barna, and me for the IFI Faith, Family, and Freedom Banquet next Friday. Each are valued at $100, so that's 2 pairs of tickets. Let's see, that's 4 times 100 is 400, so 200 per winner.
So good with the numbers.
Thank you very much. What number caller gets the 2 pairs of tickets?
Caller number 12.
Caller number 12 to 312-733-6993. 312-733-6993. Caller number 12. Free tickets to the IFI Faith, Family, and Freedom Banquet next Friday. Or if you don't win, you get your tickets at illinoisfamily.org.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll continue our Kavanaugh discussion with Michael Goodwin from the New York Post at 8:38.
But first, straight into the newsroom, here's Mike Scott.
Clouds and 55 degrees. A Senate Judiciary Committee is expected to vote this morning on the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh to the U.S. Supreme Court. The Judiciary Committee is gathering, slated to vote just after 8:30, whether to send that nomination to the full Senate floor for confirmation. The clock is ticking towards that vote. The move follows Thursday's closely watched Senate hearing in which Dr. Christine Ford testified that Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her when they were teenagers.
Dr. Ford, with what degree of certainty do you believe Brett Kavanaugh assaulted you?
100%.
An angry and emotional Kavanaugh says he never committed sexual assault.
Vile threats of violence against my family will not drive me out. You may defeat me in the final vote, but you'll never get me to quit. Never.
Meantime, the American Bar Association is calling the FBI to investigate the allegations against Kavanaugh. The personal information of 3 Republican senators involved in yesterday's Kavanaugh hearing has been leaked online. Lindsey Graham, Orrin Hatch, and Mike Lee had their phone numbers and addresses posted. They were taken down later, but the doxed information was circulated on Twitter. Everyone safe? After a plane lands short of a runway in a lagoon in Micronesia, passenger Bill James was on board.
The water was only up to about here on me, inside the plane. I called my wife and she cried and asked her why, because I'm talking to her.
The Pacific Daily News reports the airport's manager says the plane actually ended up about 160 yards from the end of the runway in the lagoon. The Securities and Exchange Commission charging Tesla CEO Elon Musk with fraud.
Today, the SEC filed securities fraud charges against Elon Musk, the chairman and CEO of Tesla Motors, stemming from his August 7th, 2018 statements disseminated over Twitter that he was considering taking Tesla private.
The complaint filed yesterday accuses Musk of making false and misleading statements. The police chief of Gastonia, North Carolina, says his community is heartbroken this morning after a long search for a missing special needs boy ends with his body being found. 6-year-old Maddox Rich went missing last week. Chicago police continue investigating the death of a 10-month-old girl. The girl lived near 67th and Paxton, and DCFS is also investigating. Bail denied for a Deerfield man accused of killing his wife last week. Gary Kaman is charged with the murder of Karen Kaman. Cubs shortstop Addison Russell will not play the rest of the regular season as MLB investigates domestic abuse allegations made by his ex-wife. Multiple reports say Russell's administrative leave has been extended through Sunday. Cubs blank the Pirates 3-0 at Wrigley Field. White Sox have a double dip with the Twins in Minnesota tonight. The news, a service of Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org. 8:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager doesn't see the recognition of Trump's accomplishments.
The left blew it. Donald Trump has achieved a tremendous amount. Since 1969, this is the lowest number of people filing for unemployment insurance. Do you realize what the headlines would be if this was Hillary Clinton or any Democrat? It would be banner headlines. It's ignored.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Do you know your bank's fraud tolerance? I'm Ann Dollagall, Treasury Management Executive. At Signature Bank, we have zero tolerance. While some of the big banks may write off smaller incidences of fraud, we use a multi-layered approach to fight fraud before it happens to our customers. There's been a record number of businesses hit with payments fraud this year. Keeping your business assets safe is our top priority. We are trained, and we will train you to recognize potential wire fraud threats and business email compromise scams. Call us today to find out how Signature Bank can work with your business to fight fraud.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, great coffee, period.
8:36. Get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Eastbound Edensburg, traffic is stop and go from the Tri-State to Waukegan Road. Then the Edens runs 26 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 29. Kennedy, about delay started Foster, 53 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 35 from Montrose, 30 in the Express, outbound 33 to the airport. Eisenhower, 53 minutes, 390 to downtown, 37 from Manheim, outbound 40, 390. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 41. Ryan, 37 minutes, 95 to downtown. Ford, 21 minutes, 8094 to the merge. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, jammed Irving Park to North Avenue. Northbound heavy from Stevenson to 18th Drive. Southbound Tri-State delays. The Adams Tollway to Lawrence, northbound 95th to Ogden, and from the Reagan Tollway to Lawrence. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Clouds and cool with an afternoon shower, high 63, currently 55. Next news coming up at 9. Breaking news as it happens. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by the Townstone Financial Show, Saturday afternoons at 1. Nobody values your mortgage business like Townstone. Listen and call for the best advice.
Tickets for Freedom Summit Chicago are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Yeah, some breaking news, some good news. Senator Jeff Flake will vote to confirm Brett Kavanaugh. Everyone is reporting that now. Fox News, CNN, as the members are getting seated right now to take their vote to get this out of committee and onto the Senate floor.
Yeah, so Flake's in, so he moves out of committee. It probably means that Murkowski and Collins, or at least one of them, is also in, which means Manchin will be in, which means the other one will be in, which means Joe Donnelly and Heitkamp could fall as well. It really, I think, I'm sure is being informed by the polling on this issue state by state, more so than R versus D inside the Beltway. What's in the best interest of each of these individual candidates in these blue blue Dems and red states. So now the question is, if he is going to be confirmed.
Mm-hmm. Is he going to have an asterisk by his name?
Well, does November, do the midterm elections become a referendum now on whether or not to impeach Trump and whether or not to impeach Kavanaugh? Have you just added another impeachment target to the list for contemplation as it pertains to your vote in November? Mike Scott pointing out during the break that Brian Fallon, a former flack of Hillary Clinton, saying if Kavanaugh's confirmed, it won't be for life. Words to that effect.
Oh, really?
So putting the marker down. Well, putting the marker down. Obviously indicating if Dems get control, then they'll move to impeach. So it informs the issues at bar in the midterm of the November 6th election. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by our friend, New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor Michael Goodwin. Michael, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
So what about that? Do you think you attack on Kavanaugh to Trump, and they're both the referendum, part of a singular referendum question for November 6th?
It's a good point. I don't think Brian Fallon speaks for many people, however, when he makes that an absolute. In the same way, I don't think Maxine Waters speaks for every Democrat when she talks about impeachment as the reason for Democrats to take the House. I think if the Democrats go down the impeachment road and that becomes the key of their platform, then I think they'll be making a big mistake. I think there are a lot of Americans who are, of course, very unhappy with Trump and very unhappy now with Kavanaugh, but I don't think it's really an election platform. It's part of it maybe, but I just don't think it carries the day. I don't think if they were to take the House, I don't think impeachment would actually happen unless Mueller comes up with something significant. So I think these are great kind of bone-rattling denunciations that get the blood boiling of a select few Democrats. But as you mentioned, if Manchin goes, if Heitkamp, it's going to be very tough to make a national platform on that sort of thing when clearly not all Democrats are on board. They're going to need something broader, I think, not just this kind of hate-driven revenge for 2016. That's just not going to reach a majority of American voters.
What moved you most about yesterday's hearing? When it came
I
know it was. There's a lot there. It's a loaded question, but for when you watch Ford testify and then when you watch Kavanaugh testify.
Yeah, thank you. It was look, I was moved by her first, and I'm reminded that like in a trial, you've got to hold your judgment until the end. I thought she was effective. I thought she was appealing. I thought she was a sympathetic person. I think her presentation was magnified by the fact that she wasn't challenged on her core claim that it was Kavanaugh. Yeah. Only in that last minute did Rachel Mitchell raise the issue that nobody else supported you. The other people you have named as being there, none of them support you, Kavanaugh and three others. And that's the key to it. She may be sincere. She really believes this, but there's no evidence. There's no corroboration from anybody else. And then I think when Kavanaugh testified, I think if your heart didn't break, you're not human. What he clearly had been through, what his family has been through, it was something very powerful. And I think he has the evidence on his side. They both were powerful. They were both compelling, but he has the evidence. And that's where I hope he is confirmed. As I wrote in my column today, if I had a vote, it would be yes.
Well, the other part of his testimony, both his opening statement and what he sprinkled in throughout the Q&A with senators, the number of women and the quality of women that are supporters of Brett Kavanaugh, that rally to his defense in his darkest hour, I thought, it would obviously moved him. That all these people would come to his aid when he most needed them, knowing that they would be vilified or they would be questioned or they would be dismissed. It's the women who had the press conference for him last Friday. It's the Georgetown Prep women who signed the letter in response to that scumbag Avenatti's antics. It's the women who he's known since high school who were in the audience, obviously in addition to his wife. To me, that was both poignant and powerful and persuasive.
I agree completely. And look, this was a real trial by fire. It was a trial by fire for him, and I believe he's going to come out okay on it. It's also a trial by fire for the Republican Party. I think Lindsey Graham just clarified everything with that speech. That it felt like it was just burning the air, burning away all the junk in the air, and clarifying what was at stake. And I think it will be, I hope it will be something of a trial by fire, and it already has been, but a clarifying moment for our culture. I mean, that there's got to be limits here. It cannot be driven solely by what you want. Every tactic is acceptable. There's no limit. There are no rules. If you want it, that's enough to do anything. I mean, that way lies madness, and that way lies violence. And I think we're getting very, very close. So I'm hopeful that this, at least if the Republican Party now stands for something and doesn't let itself get pushed around, I think more people will rally to that. And I think eventually even many Democrats will say, okay, that's enough. That's too far. We have our differences. We believe in some very different things about the role of government, et cetera. But there has to be limits on how we approach this. Let's talk. Let's negotiate.
Well,
let's do it in good faith.
Yeah. Do you think Lindsey Graham, I mean, he said, I supported Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor, and what you're doing to him is wrong. We went through that. We played his audio because it was very moving. Do you think he's the one who got to those undecided Republicans, or was it Kavanaugh himself, or a little bit of both?
I think it was a combination. I think that one without the other wouldn't have been complete.
Yep.
And so I think that by his support for Kavanaugh and by his denunciation of the tactics employed, I think all the Republicans, John Cornyn, Mike Lee, they were all very upset by the way Dianne Feinstein handled this. Lindsey Graham said at one point, I feel ambushed. And I think that was a real break for the Republicans, that these are not good faith tactics. These people whom Graham called, they have been my friends, almost a past tense. They broke something there. And so I think he called it. He blew the whistle on it, just as President Trump had several days earlier in his press conference. I think it had gone too far, and it was pulled back at the last minute. And I'm really grateful for Lindsey Graham and for Kavanaugh for having the strength to do what he did.
He is Michael Goodwin. He's New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor. Michael, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Being successful in business means overcoming enormous obstacles to serve your customers and community. AM 560, The Answer, wants to shine a spotlight on businesses that are thriving. We want to celebrate their success by finding out what makes these businesses unique, successful, and what we can learn from them. We want to know how you built it. Presented by Chicagoland Waterproofing. To tell us how you built it, go to 560theanswer.com/built. That's 560theanswer.com/BUILT. Sponsored by Signature Bank and Ozinga.
Imagine your son after a year of college. What kind of man do you hope to see? A man fully alive and committed to making good choices and doing the right thing because they are right and because he's strong enough? Northridge Prep in Niles builds that kind of man at an open house on Sunday, October 21st. See for yourself what makes Northridge Prep the #1 all-boys school 3 years running and the 4th best Catholic school in Illinois. Their academically rigorous curriculum celebrates the adventure of boyhood. Hall fests, the superfans, jousting tournaments, and more make it a good place to be a boy. Northridge Prep is an independent school for boys grades 6 through 12. They produce men with the ability to think for themselves. Graduates go to the best universities, including the Ivy League and including the best universities. Every teacher is a role model, and 50% of the faculty attended a top 20 university. Don't miss Northridge Prep's open house on Sunday, October 21st. Learn more and register online at northridgeprep.org. That's northridgeprep.org.
Right now, are you sitting in your home afraid to go out in public? Afraid to be seen in a restaurant? Afraid to talk or smile knowing those dentures will fall out at any minute? I'm Dr. Howard Cooper from Excellence in Dentistry, and we can handle all your worries. We have a complete in-house denture lab, and we're here to help you smile and eat with all the confidence again. Every day I see folks like Mary, whose family didn't know where else to turn. Mary's been losing weight and wouldn't eat with her ill-fitting dentures. After talking with Mary, we realized that not only did her denture not fit well, but she hated the way it made her look. We fabricated a new denture that day, and we designed it with Mary's concerns in mind. The smile on her face when we finished conveyed the greatest feeling of all. Mary not only looked beautiful, but she was happy and couldn't wait to get downstairs and hit the restaurant. Mary is happy and her family is happy. That's what we do for our patients. We change their lives. Call us at 847-244-4000 for your free consultation. Don't hide in your house any longer. Enjoy your summer with a new smile and a new outlook on life. Again, call us at 847-244-4000. We are located in Gurnee at Washington and 21 in Saratoga Square. Excellence in dentistry, creating excellence one smile at a time.
Critics are raving Smallfoot is the perfect family film.
I saw Smallfoot.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No.
I did.
No.
I saw it.
Doesn't exist.
I smell cover-up.
Get Yeti for a fun ride.
There are more small feet below the clouds.
That delivers instantaneous, infectious joy.
Let's do this.
Today, when you believe in something bigger, a little faith goes a long way.
Smallfoot. Hi, little guy. You're adorable.
Smallfoot, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Now playing.
People have long associated the Ozinga name with concrete, but truth be told, Ozinga has always been on a quest to create a better world. We want to help you build your business so you can provide for your family, create better jobs, and build your community. It's why we constantly engineer better concrete, haul raw materials, and supply cleaner fuel. Together, we can positively impact the places where we live, work, and play throughout the Chicagoland area. To learn more, go to ozinga.com. That's OZINGA.com.
Chicago has long been a hub of architectural innovation, and the future of Chicago building isn't stopping anytime soon. At Ozinga, we believe it's important to continue pushing the boundaries of the construction industry, but it can't be accomplished alone. Let's build this city with ingenuity, sustainability, and with heart. But more importantly, let's build this city together.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-694-2640 now. That's 800-694-2640 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-694-2640 to learn more. 800-694-2640. That's 800-694-2640. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I thought I had a sinus headache for a few days, but I had a massive brain aneurysm, hemorrhage of the brain, and a stroke, and I was on my deathbed. I was on a respirator in a coma for 35 days. And 3 months later, I came home in a wheelchair. I had double vision. I had to learn to walk again, to speak again. 1 and 1 is 2, write the alphabet. You know, if I went out and did a little something, I'd come home, I'd be in bed. Now, I'm up by like 5:30 in the morning, and I go to the gym. I do shopping. I cook. I have energy all day. I mean, I feel great. Overall, my whole outlook, just feeling, my mental aspect, everything is better.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, all right, Senate Judiciary Committee is meeting now. The word is Jeff Flake is a yes vote to vote Kavanaugh's nomination out of committee with a recommendation to the full Senate, and that vote will then take place early next week. And if Flake's on board, then things are looking pretty good for Tank Man.
And the reason why we're playing the song, too, is Michael Goodwin, who we just hit on. He was brought to tears not once but twice during our interview.
Thinking about what happened, and I got to tell you, I was moved by his discussions, Kavanaugh's, of his friends who are girls or women throughout his life. It's actually rather remarkable. I mean, that's not surprising coming from somebody who doesn't have friends. But I was so moved by what he had to say about his friends and how his friends rallied to his defense. I'm thinking about getting some. That's how I'm
Well,
moved.
you've got fictitious children, so you can buy some fake friends. It's okay, Dan.
It's not exactly, especially online. They're pretty cheap to accumulate. Here's Brett Kavanaugh talking about the women that rallied to his defense, didn't have to, in his darkest hour amid the most salacious of allegations.
The committee has a letter from 65 women who knew me in high school. They said that I always treated them with dignity and respect. That letter came together in one night, 35 years after graduation, while a sexual assault allegation was pending against me in a very fraught and public situation where they knew they'd be vilified if they defended me. Think about that. They put themselves on the line for me. Those are some awesome women, and I love all of them.
They are, and do think about that.
You're making me cry.
Babe, think about that. I couldn't get 1/5 of that number to admit they went to high school with me, much less rally to my defense in 24 hours in that context. That is remarkable. The thing that punctuates this guy's life is this ever-expanding circle of friends, many of whom are women, who all speak nothing but praise about him in all of his all aspects of his life. Volunteer coaching, as a mentor in the legal community, as a professional colleague. You can't fake that. And you can't fake your way through it to cobble together those kind of that number of the number of people and also the quality of person. He also went on to read some text messages he got from a couple of women he went to college with who were friends of his.
I ask you to judge me by the standard that you would want to.
That's not it. Yeah.
There's so much.
But I swear today.
I don't know. But anyway, there were text messages where he was choked up about what those women had to say to him, that they're in he's in their prayers to stay tough, to gut it out.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, I just was not expecting. After Christine Ford testified, I thought it's over, and I was pleasantly surprised and wrong. And that different side of Brett Kavanaugh was amazing. He was a different person than he was on Fox News.
One of those women friends from college, a self-described liberal and feminist, sent me a text last night that said, quote, "Deep breaths. You're a good man, a good man, a good man." A text yesterday from another of those women friends from college said, quote, "Brett, be strong, pulling for you to my core." A third text yesterday from yet another of those women I'm friends with from college said, "I'm holding you in the light of God." As I said in my opening statement the last time I was with you, cherish your friends, look out for your friends, lift up your friends, love your friends. I've felt that love more over the last 2 weeks than I ever have in my life. I thank all my friends. I love all my friends.
You're making me cry again.
I
cried all day yesterday, and even Lindsey Graham was making me cry. Now you're making me cry all over again.
If I hadn't had my tear ducts removed, I'd be crying. Kate in Northfield.
Yes, while watching Ford's testimony, I was reminded of the immortal words of Seinfeld's George Costanza.
Sure.
Jerry, just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
All right. Thanks for the call, Kate. Didn't think we'd get a Seinfeld reference in. Sherry in Crown Point.
Hi. I just wanted to make a observation about her testimony about her friend and PJ. Not like the situation was unremarkable, and so they wouldn't remember. But in my opinion, if I'm at a party with my girlfriend and we're the only two people there, she leaves, I would be making a call when I got home at the very least, or the next day, or at school. Hey, what happened? Why did you leave? So she would remember that situation. That's not a situation that you would just like, oh, she left, and you would never ask her.
Right, and you also wouldn't leave your friend at a house where there were rapists, because they would be attacking your friend next.
Sister
And
code.
it's sister code, yeah. Don't forget it, Dan. Thanks so much for making this part of your morning. We're back here bright and early Monday at 5 a.m. Have a glorious, healthy, and happy weekend. Now here is Mike.